Hello and welcome to the ABC podcast. This is episode 11. My name is Alex, and I am joined by the one and only Brandon Bending Rodriguez Martinez Park.
Yo. You know, I really need to start watching Futurama.
Yeah, you do.
I really need to start watching Futurama. I told my friend I would. I need to start watching Futurama. I've only seen 2 episodes. I'm pretty sure we talked about this. I saw the one when they went to college on Mars, and the one with Bender when he gets emotions from that one girl. Leela, yeah. But it's on my to-do list.
Yeah.
I've actually been pretty good with my to-do list.
If we had $1 for every time we'd said that on this show, we'd be pretty rich.
What we need to watch something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But as long as we're dreaming, I would like to have a Megazord.
I would like to have a portal gun.
That would be pretty cool. I could just go from like one place to the other. So, but do you think you would get fat doing that?
I mean, you still have to like get up.
Yes, because like, and then you have to like,
you
have to do all that energy. So I don't know. Maybe it's a good way for exercise.
Yeah,
I don't know. So, what's on the menu today?
Okay, so we've got a little bit of a different show today. So first, Brandon and I are going to do our old stuff as per usual, and then maybe get to some new stuff, and then we'll take a break. Then I'm going to have a conversation with Michael that I will record in the future, and then Brandon and I will come back. So that's what you guys are going to hear. That's not what's going to happen here, obviously, because of time travel.
You don't need to explain that to them. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, so it's going to be me and Brandon, Brandon and I, and then Michael and I,
Mr. English minor.
and then Brandon and I again for the remainder of the show. So anyway, we've got our usual stuff to go over from last week. We got more movie trailers, some news, other little things like that. But before we get to any of that, I have with me the May 2016 Smuggler's Bounty Box themed bounty hunters.
What do you expect from this?
Well, I already got a spoiler on the pop vinyl, so that's a little sad, but
it's okay.
I didn't see what it looks like. I just know what it is. So
okay.
I don't actually know what it looks like, so there's still going to be some
Well,
surprise.
let's open this sucker up.
Okay, tell me what it looks like.
So the box is black with some white patterns on it. If you watch any scene on Imperial ships, you can find them. There are these like little beams of light that come through, these light grates. On the side of the box, it has Star Wars Smuggler Bounty. On the back of the box is white with a bunch of Facebook links and Twitter. And on the top of the box is my personal favorite. It has the Star Wars logo, as well as a picture of a pop vinyl Funko of Boba Fett.
Or is it Jango Fett?
It's Boba Fett.
I don't know.
It's Boba Fett. Look at the gun.
What does that have to do with anything?
Jango dual wheels. And there's like a little like detail on the helmet that you can look at. Trust me on this, okay?
Okay.
I would know that, and I'm not saying that in a good way.
Anyway, so if you remember a few episodes ago, we reviewed or opened the Civil War box, and that was like super detailed.
Yeah.
And so this box, the Smuggler's Bounty, and the Legion of Collectors boxes were both very simplistic in comparison, which I find a little disappointing. I mean, in the end, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but I like the little extra detail they go into for the collector's core.
I think Civil War is just special because, you know.
Yeah, but all of the Marvel boxes are that way.
Maybe.
Anyway, so there's like an inside pattern. Like even the DC box had comic strip.
Okay,
stuff.
just talk to them about it.
Okay,
I put the knife down.
Okay, so inside the box we've got our usual patch and pin. The pin is Bosk, and it just has Star Wars and then his face and then some alien writing. Do you know what this says?
Of course I do. Your mom. No, I'm sorry, I don't know what it says.
Okay.
I don't speak Trandoshan.
Is that his species?
Yeah.
Why do you know that? Why do you know that but not Plo Koon?
Plo Koon?
Yeah.
Do you know how many species?
But why Bosk? Like out of all of
because I played Republic Commando, which is a game where you played as these elite forces of clone troopers, and one of the forces you fought were Trandoshans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You didn't fight Keldorians.
and then the patch is Boba Fett.
It's Boba Fett.
And then it says bounty hunters, and then more alien writing on the side, and then like a little symbol thing.
Yeah, it's his Mandalorian symbol.
Ooh, and then above that, it's printed on the box. It says, "Behold your share of Smuggler's Bounty." That's cool.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be a bounty hunter.
I mean, that's a real thing.
Yeah, but I can't wear Mandalorian armor and go after people that way.
You could.
I could, but I wanted a functioning jetpack and be able, just I don't know. It might seem like a good living, and technically I'm working within the confines of the law, but I don't know. Do you think if I go to a police station, they'll be like, "We don't need their scum"?
Anyway, so T-shirt is not black; it's navy blue. So
Such a
thank you,
difference.
Funko. And it just has a bunch of different bounty hunters on it. So there's Zuckuss, Forlom, I-688, or is that IG-88? Sorry.
Yeah.
Boba Fett and then Bosk. So
It has just these little details and statistics about them.
it's pretty cool.
I like it.
I like it better than the Cantina T-shirt.
Oh,
It wasn't.
I like that one.
I mean, it was. I don't know.
Maybe because I'm easy to please, so I'm not gonna complain a lot of the times.
What are you saying about me, Brandon?
Nah.
Oh, there's 2 pops in here.
Whoa!
I didn't know that. Okay, so
Ooh, I like this one.
Boba Fett, and he's like flying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So,
in jetpack mode.
Yeah. There's like.
Flames coming out of his jetpack.
That's pretty rad.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it. It was cool.
And then the second one
is IG-88. Sticker's a little messed up. Oh well.
Dang, he's got a big head.
It's a little boring.
I mean, his design is a little,
Oh, like in the movies, you mean?
Yeah, in general.
Yeah.
So there's only so much they could work with.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like that they adapted the figure.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's all we have to say.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot to it.
Do you feel like a bounty hunter though?
Sure.
The hunt begins. So that was Smuggler's Bounty. All of, 4 things? 5 things?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice little treats.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, so now, before we get to our corrections from the previous show, I'm introducing a new segment to the show.
Okay. Well, am I...
Yeah, this is a surprise for Brandon, so
Okay.
he's in the same boat as you lovely listeners. So when I first had this idea to have this podcast, I was trying to think of a name, and I came up with the ABC podcast just because it sounded clever and it was easy to remember, and I couldn't think of anything else. I was like, okay, let's just go with that.
Okay.
Other than that, it really holds no significance. So I thought that we should try and embrace the ABC motif. So I'm introducing this new segment called the ABCs of Geekdom. So what we're going to do is...
Okay.
So, you know how in Sesame Street every week or every show they're like, this show is brought to you by the letter K and the number 20.
Yeah.
So we're going to do something like that.
Okay.
So this week is going to be A, obviously.
All right.
And I will pick a character or a item or something that has to do with the things that we're into, things that we talk about on this show, and then we'll just kind of talk about it, if we have any fond memories, things like that. Okay, so this week is A, and I am going to pick Alfred Pennyworth.
Alfred.
Yes. Alfred Pennyworth, butler of Bruce Wayne, a.k.a. Batman.
A.k.a. the Tangerine.
Alfred's really cool. He's always there for Bruce.
How can you hate Alfred? I don't think you can ever hate Alfred.
Yeah. He's always there either to, cook him food or fix his clothes or
Bend
give him
him up.
stitches.
Yeah.
Or if he if nothing else, just to provide a sarcastic comment that makes me laugh.
Yeah.
So that's why I love Alfred.
Yeah, pretty much the same reason. Also, I feel like he is a lot of times the force that sometimes goes against Bruce. Because he'll do anything for Bruce, but sometimes he's going to do something that isn't in the overall best interest, and he'll direct Batman that way.
Mm-hmm.
Best example is in Arkham City.
I never played it.
Which probably maybe I shouldn't spoil it.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, but there's a really, really good example in there. Or plenty of times in The Dark Knight when he questions Bruce about, is this the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Like when Bruce basically has surveillance on everybody.
Yeah.
And he plays Big Brother.
But that was more like Lucius. He really took on that moral conscience
He did,
role.
but you see the same thing with Alfred all the time. Especially when he begins to get obsessed with the Joker.
Yeah.
And he tells him, like, be careful, tangerines. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's this video on YouTube that talks about Alfred, and he gives an anecdote about when he was in Burma, I believe.
Burma.
And they were trying to trade with, I don't know, the rebels or the villagers or something. And they were giving them jewels, and then he saw a jewel the size of a tangerine. And what the video does, for some reason, I don't know who made this video, but they keep looping the tangerine. So everything he says is about tangerines. So essentially he became the Tangerine Knight.
One time, I saw a tangerine, the size of a tangerine. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. It's so funny.
It's so... who's your favorite Alfred?
I was getting to that. So Michael Caine is definitely up there for me. Pretty much all of the animated Alfreds, dude, like they really nail it.
I was about to say those, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for me, the animated series one.
Yeah.
I remember one time it was April Fool's, and Bruce was gonna go take a bath, and then he was like, "What the heck, Alfred? I drew you a bath, sir." And he held up a drawing of a bath. I was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
It's just Alfred.
Yeah.
And it's also funny because sometimes he babies Bruce. Best example I have is in Justice League Doom when he comes back from the opening battle.
Yeah.
And he just basically schools Bruce and says, before you get to work, you are going to eat what I cooked you. You're going to eat my chicken soup. I'm going to stitch you up. You're going to get 8 hours rest, and then you can do it. And then Bruce is just like, fine, all right.
Yeah. So that's Alfred.
Mm-hmm. Who's better, Alfred or Jarvis?
Do you mean MCU Jarvis or original human person Jarvis?
So you brought that up. Because actually some people don't know that in the comics...
I didn't know that for a long time.
In the comics, Jarvis is actually a butler. He's actually human. And in the movies, they just adopted him into an AI, which I thought was actually a really clever move.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because otherwise they'd be just copying Batman. So it made sense. But then Jarvis becomes Vision. Spoiler alert if you didn't know that. Ooh. Maybe they should have done that Civil War. Make Vision like the butler around, the Avengers place.
He basically was. He was always like cooking and...
He didn't even know what paprika was. I mean, if you want to say his Ned Flanders outfit counted, sure. Man, ever since then, I haven't looked at him the same way during those scenes. Okay. I think that was it for Alfred.
Yeah. Okay.
Good old Alfred.
Good old Alfred.
Why do we fall, Master Wayne? You know
because
what?
I tripped on a tangerine.
The worst scene what I saw was when he cried at The Dark Knight Rises. That just broke my heart. I honestly think for me, Michael Caine's my favorite one.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite too.
Yeah. Everybody else, they're okay.
Yeah.
They did the role.
I mean,
I've yet to see really with Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
I like what he did in Batman vs. Superman, but I just feel like I need to see more to get into it.
All right, let's talk about old stuff. So first up, last week we were talking about pop vinyls and if they could really make a pop out of anything, and I said that there were no pops of inanimate objects, which was incorrect. So this was actually sent in to us by a listener, Eddie Garcia You can find him on Twitter at SkyMuboFan26. So he DM'd me, actually, and he pointed out to me that there is a TARDIS pop. TARDIS, if you don't know, like Brandon, that's the time machine / spaceship that Doctor Who has. It stands for Time and Relative Dimension in Space.
I knew what a TARDIS was. I've never seen Doctor Who before.
Okay.
It's on my to-do list.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway.
I just know one Doctor Who was a villain in the MCU. That's about it. Yeah, he was Malekith.
Oh, I thought you meant in Jessica Jones.
That too.
Anyway, so thank you, Eddie, for pointing that out to me. And
Ooh, what if the ship that he attacked Asgard was like a giant TARDIS? Is it just this giant telemoove just come towards Asgard?
That would be interesting. Anyway, and then there's also a pop of the Iron Throne from Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's right.
Which I own. Very good one. I have my Robot Devil pop vinyl sitting on top of the Iron Throne.
Do you ever just like put your hand on the Iron Throne and be like, because you can't sit on it, so I'm like, let's put my hand right here.
You know, you can buy a full size replica of the Iron Throne from the HBO shop. It only costs like $12,000.
Oh, just only. No big deal.
Hey.
Leslie Knope bought it for Ben Wyatt.
Well, she rented it.
Did she?
Yeah, she didn't buy it.
Oh. I don't remember.
I don't think.
I'll have to watch it again. But I just remember his face. And then he said in a really weird voice, like... sorry. That whole episode, he was trying to one-up Leslie. But he was saying in a really weird voice, like, when you play the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. But he said, like, a really, really, like, nerdy voice. And he's like, I think he was acting like Joffrey. He was like, come hither.
I don't think Joffrey ever says that. And Joffrey doesn't say the you win or you die.
No. Yeah. He was just, like, making his voice like Joffrey.
I guess.
Okay, if you want to be technical about it. You have no imagination whatsoever.
I know. That's from years of watching television and cartoons. Okay, so next thing.
Yes.
So, if you recall, we were talking about Dr. Selvig in Age of Ultron taught at the University of London.
Mm-hmm.
And I said one would reasonably assume that the University of London is located in London, but I didn't know that for a fact.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and it is, in fact, in London.
Really?
Yep.
We had to... I didn't know.
Yep.
And would never have guessed.
Anyway, while I was looking it up, this happened to come up on Google. Some notable alumni. There was a bunch. Like I know that Gandhi was on there. I'm pretty sure Nelson Mandela was on there. But like nerdy people who were on there was Daisy Ridley, Carrie Fisher, Christopher Nolan, Kit Harington, and Andrew Garfield. There, like I said, there was a bunch of really famous people on there, but I just wrote down a few of them.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
We should get our school to do that. One day it will.
Greg Abbott has a degree from here, so...
Does he? I thought his wife did.
No, I mean, he got one on Saturday.
Oh, you're talking about that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. If we're going with that, yeah. So... the governor of Texas, guys.
Okay, next. So Plo Koon, he is, as we already mentioned, of the Keldor species.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why they have to wear masks is because Brandon said that it was because the pressure, it was too much for them. That is incorrect. Oxygen is poisonous to them. So that's what the mask is for, and then they have to wear goggles to keep their eye fluids from evaporating.
Do you want me to just admit that I was wrong and be like,
I mean, you can if you
were
want
so
to.
right?
I'm not going to twist your arm.
Okay, next one.
Okay. So, next one, we were talking about Tsum Tsum. And the Japanese word is not Tsum, it's actually Sumu. And that means to stack. That comes from, there's a mobile game that's like a match 3 game. You have to like line them up and then stuff like that. And there's also arcade games in Japan, apparently. Now, we got a listener correction email from Susie. And the subject is Japanese lesson with an exclamation point. It's a very exciting Japanese lesson. It says, hey guys, as you may know, I took Japanese for a year and I thought I'd tell you about correct Japanese pronunciation. So these Tsum Tsum toys, they're cute. And you were right. Apparently, sum comes from the Japanese word for stack. Here's the thing. The T is not silent. The TS in sum and any Japanese word, the syllable TSU in it, is said like the TS at the end of the word cats. A helpful word for getting the feeling of saying it is the word katsu, which is delicious. What's katsu? Do you know what katsu is?
No.
Okay.
Do you want to look it up?
Sure. Otherwise, you're good. It is a little weird to me that they changed it to an M at the end instead of an N, which is more correct. But maybe they didn't want people thinking of tsundere toy probably wouldn't sell well. And then she has a question that we'll get to at the end of the show. So thank you, Susie. That cleared up a little bit, but also I don't know what a tsundere is, and also don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. So anyway, I know that the official Disney pronunciation is Tsum Tsum, not Tsum Tsum. Tsum Tsum. What?
Sorry, just the noises you've been making. Oh yeah, the dish she was talking to me about. It's I've had this before actually. It's a breaded deep fried pork cutlet.
That sounds good.
It's really really good. My mom used to make them all the time back when I used to live at home. But alas, I eat refrigerated food now. Cold.
Like your soul.
Pretty much.
Okay, so
touch it and die.
What?
Touch my soul and you die.
Okay, and so then the Avengers set for Tsum Tsum, because I kept getting confused about what it was. And
yeah.
I wrote it down once and for all, so we're going to have it done. So the first Avengers set was Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, and Black Widow. I said last week there was a Nick Fury Tsum Tsum. That is incorrect. There is no Nick Fury Tsum Tsum. For the second set, it was Bucky or Winter Soldier, Falcon, Hawkeye, Ant-Man, Vision, War Machine, and Black Panther.
Okay.
So that's it. You have anything else to say about Tsum Tsum?
I think
Tsum Tsum.
I think we've zoomed ourselves out.
Yep. Okay, so next, actually, we're going to talk about Justice League Doom again.
Okay.
So I actually went back and watched it on Tuesday? Monday?
Tuesday. Oh, dang.
No, it was Monday.
You suck.
I think.
Ruined
I
my
don't even
reference.
remember. That's not important.
It was on a Tuesday.
When was it? Whatever. I watched it. That's the point.
Okay.
It's
okay.
really good. I wanted to watch Crisis on Two Earths again, too, just to compare the two. Because I think I like Crisis on Two Earths better, but I'm not sure. Anyway, Justice League Doom is really good. But we were talking about it last week, and Brandon said that Vandal Savage was firing a missile at the Earth. That is incorrect. It was actually a solar flare. He was headed towards the Earth.
Why do you keep giving me these pauses? Keep going.
Okay. And then Superman says he could push the Earth out of the way. And then Batman retorts, he says, the full quote is, "If we had a week, I couldn't list all the reasons that won't work." Now, obviously, he says it much more dramatically and with more Batman attitude than I did, but that's what he said.
I think it was good enough.
Moving on. So, last week, Brandon got something else wrong. He said that there was an Assassin's Creed mini movie that bridged the gap between Assassin's Creed 1 and Assassin's Creed 2. And Assassin's Creed 2. He said that was Bloodlines. That is incorrect. It was actually called Assassin's Creed Lineage. Assassin's Creed Bloodlines was a PSP game that took place in between the events of Assassin's Creed 1 and Assassin's Creed 2. Okay? I'm giving you an opportunity to comment on what I'm saying. That is how a podcast
Besides
works.
the fact that I've been incorrect, like, how many times?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so next...
Also, watch Lineage if you have the chance. It's actually... I thought it was pretty good.
Okay.
For what it was.
Is
It's
it
only
on
like...
YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube, actually.
Okay.
Free.
Okay, so in the movie, so this isn't really a correction, just kind of to expand on what we were talked about last week. So in the games, the character from the future in the Animus, his name is Desmond.
The first three ones.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, the first three.
Who's after that?
The other ones, I'm not sure because I haven't looked into them, but it's not Desmond.
Okay.
Because his story ends at Assassin's Creed 3.
Okay, that's good to know. So anyway, but in the movie, the guy in the Animus, his name is Callum.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting, and I like that they're doing that to kind of separate the movie universe. Well, not universe, to separate the continuity from the movie with the games. I think that's smart on their part. So rather than having a straight retelling of the games, they are setting themselves up to go different places like the Spanish Inquisition and to not be held down by the story points in the games.
No, I agree.
I think that's smart on their part.
It's really good because you can bring the elements from the games to there.
Yeah.
But you're not just like retelling the game.
Yeah.
So I thought so too. That was a really good move on their part. And it's actually something present in the Assassin's Creed lore. Because the first three focus on Desmond, but if you look further into some of the other things that they do with some of the books and some of the comics, some of the ancestors that are focused upon, it's not Desmond's ancestors. They are different people that go into the Animus. And of course, they all connect in the overarching storyline conveniently, but Assassin's Creed does do a good job about that. I think they were aware of that, and the writers and creators of the movie saw that, and they just brought it to the movie. So, I agree. It was a very very good move on their part.
Yeah. Okay, so then last Assassin's Creed thing, we were talking about what time periods we would want to see them go in future installments of the movies, and I said an Assassin's Creed set in the Wild West, which I still think sounds like it could be a good idea, but then I realized that would be like the game Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
That's basically what that is.
It could have, but I don't know.
I'm not saying that it couldn't be different. I'm just saying that
it would be very
if
similar.
you told me, okay, we're going to have an assassin in the Wild West, then I would think of Red Dead Redemption. He wasn't an assassin. He was just an outlaw, but, potato. Okay, so next thing. The original Ghostbusters movie came out in 1984, which was 8 years before I was born. Because we were talking last week about
I was thinking about, like, did we mention the date at all? I don't remember.
Date of what?
When the original Ghostbusters came out.
I said I didn't know when it came out. I just didn't watch it until
1984,
I was pretty old, yeah.
So how many years has it been since then?
32.
Took that long to make another movie. And
there's Ghostbusters 2.
And we'll see. Nobody talks about that.
There was a Ghostbusters cartoon.
I actually did watch that.
I watched a few episodes, but I don't remember.
I had no idea what was going on. I just remember it came on Fox Kids.
Yeah. Good old Fox Kids.
I know, right? And we're going onto their website and playing their games.
Oh, yeah. I did that all the time.
I played the Digimon games the most.
Yeah.
So much fun.
There was this other one where I don't even know what show it was for, but you were like in this swimming pool and you had to like shoot things. I don't know. It was fun. I don't know. I played. I didn't play that one on that website too much.
Yeah.
I played on Disney Channel.
I did too
for a while, but mostly it was Cartoon Network and Addicting Games and Miniclip.
Yeah,
but Cartoon Network. They had some awesome games.
They had some great games. Yeah, I actually played an Adventure Time game on there, and I was very entertained by it. I was in the middle of class and just playing it. I was like, come on, Jake, don't do this, Jake. One of my favorite games was Ben 10.
Which one?
I forget which one it was, but it was actually a really big game for Cartoon Network because you got to pick between the 10 aliens, and if you go to a certain section of the room, you had to you play specifically as the alien.
Yeah, we talked about this game back when we did our top 5 favorite cartoons.
Yeah, I just don't remember the name of the game, which
I don't either.
You need to look up. So
okay, well now I will.
It's your job.
Why do I do this to myself? I'm just kidding. I love it. Anyway, so next thing. So we were talking last week about Kevin's cover photo because Brandon said that it used to be, and as it turns out, still is, a picture of Ultron fist bumping Chappie.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't go on his Facebook very often. So
anyway, if you're curious, that's what his cover photo is. It's It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
I might steal it and put it as the YouTube version picture because I'm running out of memes of you to use.
We could use your memes.
Or you could finish the artwork that you said you were going to finish months ago.
You do know that I have 5 jobs, right?
Okay. What's your point?
What's
How many
up?
of those jobs require you to actively be engaged with that job nonstop?
4 of them.
So that means you have one job where you can do whatever you want.
Currently, I only work there like a couple of times a week. Or maybe, no, once every couple of weeks.
Anyway, point is, if you're listening, send me memes of Brandon so that I can use them for the YouTube
Or send
version.
memes of Alex.
No, memes
yes.
of Brandon.
Memes of Alex.
Civil War.
Team Alex or Team Brandon.
Tweet us. Okay. So next thing. So last week, Susie sent us a question about what team we would want to have for...
Or who we want on our team.
Yeah, for if in the case of the zombie apocalypse. Brandon said that he wanted the White Walker who could raise people from the dead. He did not know the name of said character because Brandon is not a true Game of Thrones fan.
Well, that I didn't know that was like his official name.
His official name is the Night King.
Yeah, I saw it, but I didn't know it would be official until like the writers of the show said it, and then they mentioned it, and I was like, oh, now I know this is his real name, or as much of a name as he gets.
Yeah.
He's just basically like a blue Darth Maul.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. He could summon the dead.
Yep.
He's a pretty cool character, though. I like him.
Anyway, and then my team. So the last person I picked for my team was the Pokemon Empoleon because he's my favorite Pokemon. But Brandon told me that I should have heavy weapons on my team. I looked it up. Empoleon weighs less than I do, significantly less than I do. So I figured that probably wouldn't really fit into my team that I'm going for. So sorry, Empoleon, but you're getting the boot. So I'm going to replace him with another Pokemon. So I realized that I didn't have anyone on my team who would be good transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said that Doctor Strange and Hermione could apparate me, which is, fine, but, I feel like you still need someone who can help you get around quickly, not just teleport from places, because that's not always going to be the most helpful way to get around, And plus, I don't think you can apparate 6 people. Probably not. Teleport, maybe. Whatever. Anyway, so I decided that Rayquaza would be a good addition to my team because I could fly around on him, and he's definitely a heavy weapon. Mega Rayquaza has 180 in both attacking stats, so he's very strong.
Daredevil.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
I didn't know you skipped over it.
Because... Okay, and then last old thing to go over. I don't remember the context. Do you remember why we were talking about this? Because Daredevil was in the fanfic.
Yeah,
parts.
yeah.
But then I don't know how this came up. Anyway.
Exorcism, or like.
Oh yeah.
Or
Okay.
like it's like stay away from me.
Okay, so there's a priest in
the show.
In the show, his name, as it turns out, is Father Lanton.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes Matt a latte with his fancy coffee maker. Not a cappuccino or a regular cup of coffee.
I kind of want a latte now.
Gross.
Why?
I don't like coffee.
You don't drink coffee?
No.
What? I actually had to cut coffee out of my daily life. Because last year I would drink maybe 2 or 3 cups a day. And it wouldn't even be cups. It would be, I would bring this thermos from home. And I just remember, I think halfway into the year, my heart just started beating really, really fast. It didn't hurt me, but I just noticed, like, I'd be sitting down reading a book, and then it's like, dun, 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 and I'd look down, like, this might not be the best thing. So I had to cut it out of my life. And I made the mistake of going cold turkey. Just immediately.
It's never a good idea.
The most miserable week of my life. But I'll be happy to tell you, I've been pretty stable since. Now I have coffee maybe once a month.
So you're still a user.
I hate it. I hate being stuck on once a month.
Well, drink it more then.
Yeah, but when I do that, whenever I use the bathroom, it smells like coffee. It basically smells like a coffee house after I use the bathroom. So it could be a good thing, if you want the aroma to settle in.
Sure. Okay, so now we're going to talk about news. Finally. So...
Oh, before we do, there is one correction we need to do. So, you know how we were talking about the new people who are going to be in the Thor movie?
Yeah.
The website that we're looking at, it actually said their roles.
Oh, did?
And Jeff Goldblum, he's actually going to be a non-human.
Man.
Yeah.
Wait, but that doesn't mean Asgardian.
No, it doesn't mean Asgardian, but he's not going to be human.
Okay,
so.
alright, well... okay, I guess I can live with that.
Yeah. So, just wanted to let you know.
Okay, well, my prediction was wrong, but that's not the first time, so...
It's okay. Moving on to new stuff.
Okay, new stuff. So, Tom Hiddleston, who I'm sure most people will best know him as Loki, apparently is in talks to be the next James Bond.
I don't know about in talks. Maybe it was rumor, or...
The article said in talks.
Did it say that?
That's what it said.
Huh? Reportedly in talks.
A report. That's more substantial than a rumor.
Because you can totally trust everything you read on the internet.
Whatever. Anyway, let's speculate about Tom Hiddleston as James Bond.
Okay. I feel like he would be burdened with glorious purpose.
Honestly, I don't know if I could take him seriously as a hero. Now, he's a really good actor. I'm not going to take that away from him, but there's some people that you just identify with them as that role, and you can't see them as anything else. And so I don't...
That's my problem with Elijah Wood. I only see him as Frodo now.
So I don't know if I could see him as James Bond.
No, is it...
I could see him as a James Bond villain.
I was going to say, as any other character, or just as a protagonist? Or not protagonist, as a hero?
Yeah, I think it's probably just as a hero. What about you?
I could see it. I don't know about 007, though. He definitely has the acting chops to do it. I know there were talks, not talks, but people want to petition to get Idris Elba to be
I remember
007.
that.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been really
cool. I thought if that was the case, then yeah, Tom Hiddleston, why not?
What about 2 007s?
2 007s?
A double 007.
They would have to fight. They would start. It would basically be like Batman versus Superman. They would fight each other at first, and then they would join forces to take down the bad guy.
Those movies are really in right now.
That's true. Yeah.
James Bond, Civil War. So, I don't know. Loki, James Bond. It's I wouldn't have put him as my first person.
This has actually been going around for months now.
Oh, it's first I'm hearing of it.
I'm surprised it came back up again, though, on social media.
I would have put Tom Hardy. I think he could have made a good James Bond.
Yeah, I guess I could see it. But nobody cared who he was until he put on the mask. And also, apparently Mel Gibson was approached to play Odin. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know?
Mel Gibson he's okay.
I don't remember the last movie he acted in. I honestly don't.
Well, that's what IMDb is for.
Yeah, that's true. Could you see him playing Odin?
Well, he's Australian and Chris Hemsworth is Australian. So what if they let Chris Hemsworth do an Australian accent for Thor? That would have been interesting.
I feel like, doesn't he talk in his regular accent?
I don't know.
I feel like he just uses more, eloquent words.
It's possible.
And also, apparently, Nicolas Cage says fact-checking is holding up National Treasure 3. So apparently we're going to get a third one.
Well, that's not surprising me. I'm surprised they care about fact-checking. Like, it's about finding giant lost treasures. Like, are the facts really that important?
I don't know. I mean, they're good entertainment. I don't watch them for historical accuracy.
You don't?
I know, right? Oh. What do you think he's gonna steal this time? First, he stole the Declaration of Independence.
Uh-huh.
Then he stole the president.
Yeah.
Technically, it's supposed to be kidnap. I'm still using stole. What's he gonna steal now? I bet you he's gonna be part of the Statue of Liberty.
No, they went to the Statue of Liberty in the second one.
I don't know, but he's like just gonna start carrying it. Well, I don't know. What else could he steal from
He could
America?
steal America's dignity. He could steal an election.
That I was gonna say when he said dignity, I was like, this is going down a really dark path right now. He could steal Donald Trump.
Too soon. He could steal.
I didn't say president again.
He could steal the Washington Monument.
Yeah, I guess so. Or maybe like the secret to get into the treasure, he has to sit on Abe Lincoln's lap.
Sure. Okay, I guess we can stop grasping for news. So we're going to take a break. We're going to watch movie trailers, but you're going to hear music, and then I will come back without Brandon. You'll hear Michael. I already explained all of this. It's not that hard to understand. So hopefully my conversation with Michael goes smoothly and turns out well. I don't know because I haven't recorded it yet. But anyway, enjoy that, and then after that you'll hear Brandon and me talk about some movie trailers. So stay tuned. Okay, so now I'm back, and I'm joined by Michael. Now, if you remember a couple episodes ago when we talked about Batman versus Superman, Michael was the one with the correct opinion, unlike the other two. So thank you for coming back, Michael.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Okay, so I asked Michael on here to join me because last week a couple things happened, and I know Michael had very strong opinions, and I thought I'd give him a chance to a platform to let everyone know what he thought. So I guess we can start chronologically. So on Tuesday or Wednesday, a new hashtag started trending on Twitter called "Give Captain America a Boyfriend." Now, usually I don't check Twitter trends because 9 times out of 10 they're really dumb.
It's ridiculous things like ruin a movie in 5 words or something. Like, I don't.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, I think I just accidentally clicked on the tab and I saw that was trending, and I read some of the tweets and they were just ridiculous. I couldn't actually find what, if anything, started getting that trending. I didn't see a reason for it. It just kind of happened.
I think the main thing about it was that after Civil War, everybody's like, wow, Cap would do anything for Bucky. They're good friends, so clearly they should be lovers. It was like, I don't know, it's that social stigma that's against two guys being more than acquaintances. They're just really good friends, and they would do they would do anything for each other. And clearly that must mean one of them is gay. It's just ridiculous. No, and what I have a real problem with that, and at the end of the day it's really meaningless because it's just a Twitter hashtag and Marvel's never going to do it, but it's that people keep petitioning or demanding that studios make more of their characters gay or transgender, or I don't know, it doesn't even have to be like that. Just I want more characters similar to me. And I mean, first off, I think that's fine. I think as art, movies, films, television shows need diverse characters, but it's not up to the populace to demand that. We can't just say, you know what? because there's not enough gay characters in Marvel, we should demand that they make Captain America gay just because we want it to be. So it's like we shouldn't be allowed to control what they make. Like, it's their decisions, they're professionals at what they do. It would be the same as like if you take this back a couple hundred years ago, you wouldn't hear like the populace demanding that, you know, classical Renaissance art or whatever be changed. Like, I want this to be like this, you know. It's just a silly idea.
Well, I think it's also kind of a product of the time that we live in, with social media and everyone in the world being connected through, you know, a few clicks away from another person. You know, it's a lot easier to voice your opinion on that. And so it's, you know, there's good things about it, but there's also bad things about it, where people think they are entitled to say whatever they want, and that it's going to happen for them just because they're loud and obnoxious about it. So it's really, it's weird.
Yeah, and a similar thing happened with Elsa.
Yeah,
in like a couple weeks ago, and it was like, make Elsa gay. Why? Because she didn't have a boyfriend at the end of Frozen, and that's why. And it's like, my kid, I want my kids to know it's okay to be gay or whatever. And it's like, if that's something you want to teach your kids, then like teach your kids that, but don't don't be like, it's not going to be true unless they make a Disney movie out of it. Like, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous idea.
Yeah, and even the Elsa thing, like, I think that makes more sense because she didn't have a romantic involvement in the movie, whereas Captain America has had several.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, so I don't know why Captain America specifically, they could have said make Falcon gay. That would have made more sense to me, at least.
Yeah. I mean, and you can even go from another understanding of it, like, that it just doesn't fit Captain America's character.
Yeah.
Like, people, like, one of the main arguments was that, oh, Captain America is representative of America, where it's at, or whatever. And first off, that's not true. Because, well, what do you see when he comes out, like, frozen in the ice? He's like this idealization of America, like, you know, what we ought to be.
Yeah.
So his morals, what he stands for, is leaning on the more traditional side in the first place.
Yeah.
And he usually is in stark contrast to people who have more modern ideals, and that's not like...
Stark contrast?
I didn't even think about that. And that's not like necessarily meaning liberal or conservative, but he's, I don't know, he's just kind of the ideal moral person. So his morals don't change based on like what society or America believes them to be. Like, if that were the case, then in Civil War he would have been for the Accords, because he was like, oh, this is what the populace says to do. Since I am representative of the populace, I should do it. It doesn't make any sense. And I really, anytime a petition like that arises, like, make this character this color or this gender or this, like, whatever, I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, it's the creator's decision.
Right.
It's like, I used to be kind of like that. Like, when James Bond, Daniel Craig came out as James Bond, I was like, oh, this is the first James Bond with blonde hair and blue eyes. It's just so weird. And I didn't like that, and I didn't watch the movies for a long time. But I just recently watched Casino Royale for the first time, and it's an excellent movie.
Yeah.
And other things like that, with them making Human Torch black in the Fantastic Four movie. I didn't have a problem with it. It didn't make any sense because his sister was white, but it was weird. And, I mean, gender swapping or race swapping doesn't make the movie better or worse, because Fantastic Four was awful. And I don't know. I really don't like the idea of society trying to tell an individual what to do with what they want to make. Like, if I was a director and I made a movie and people were like, there weren't enough Asians in the movie, you should have put, like, it's just silly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wanted to tell the best story, like, the story the best I could. And unless I make, like, this giant rainbow of, like, here's the conservative person, here's the liberal person, here's the white person, here's the black person, it just ends up me making this movie out of political correctness and not, like, trying to make the best film or tell the best story that I can.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, whatever decision is made, it's up to the person who's making it, not up to the people who are receiving it. If they don't like it and they think there should be more gay people or whatever they want, then fine, just don't like it. But don't demand that they put in something that they don't want to.
Right. And then the other thing that I wanted to say is that the Marvel Universe is enormous, and they can always make new characters, not just retroactively, arbitrarily say, okay, we're going to make this character gay because the people want it. They can make new superheroes who are whatever race and whatever sexuality or what have you.
Yeah. There are more gay superheroes now that that's become more of, like, a social issue, and there are more heroes of different races. The new Miss Marvel is Muslim, and it's an awesome comic. Like, she's a great, interesting character. And you know what they did? They made a new character. They weren't like, we're going to change Carol Danvers into a Muslim because, like, we feel like it. They were like, we're going to you start from the bottom and make a new character.
Yeah.
So if, like, you want to make a new character who you have a better relationship with or you kind of connect with better, then do it. I'm not going to stop you because I'm not going to be the one saying you need to change your character. So that one gets me worked up.
Okay, so then the following day after Captain America...
Literally the next day, yeah.
Captain America #1, right?
Yeah, it was like a new, like...
A new Captain America line in
yeah,
comics.
because he had lost his powers, and then Falcon became Captain America, and then he got him back, and this is like the first story with him getting them again.
Right, so at the end of that issue, Captain America reveals that he is an agent of Hydra. He kicks some guy out of a plane, killing him, and he says, "Hail Hydra." And if you could see how Michael is reacting right now, you would know that does not sit very well with him.
This is even worse. This is even worse. Like, I mean, if the... I don't know, man. Like, I can't say, like... I can't use the basis of my argument, like, oh, the creators made this decision, so I have to stick by it. Like, I don't have to like it, and I'm not going to, like, petition them to change it. But I can say it's a ridiculously stupid decision, and it makes absolutely no sense. The only reasoning I could see from it is that they need to sell more comics. Like, Captain America came back, so we need this big twist. DC's doing their big arc right now that's going to sell a ton of comics, so we need to think of something big to compete with that. And it just makes me sad, because I saw this really funny meme, and it was like if other comics decided to do a similar twist, and it was like Batman saying, "I killed my parents," or Spider-Man saying, like, "Screw responsibility." It's like just going against everything the character stands for. And I don't understand. Like, there was some weird, like, time travel thing that was apparently happening, that they tricked Steve Rogers' mom into being a Hydra agent, so maybe this, like, changed him. And I know, this is the thing, I know at the end of the day, they're going to find some kind of resolution to this. They're going to go back in time and stop her from being a Hydra agent or do something, because they're never going to make this, like, permanent change to Captain America being a villain, because that's just awful. You know, the writers who created Captain America were Jews. Like, they were, like, people that wanted to, like, show what was best in their country and kind of make this symbol for everyone to rally around in World War II. And they made the man who punched Hitler in the face a Nazi now. Like, I don't know. Do you have anything to say?
I think... So I don't think I have as much attachment to Captain America as you do. So, yeah, I think it's a bizarre choice, but I'm also curious. Like, my interest is piqued, and I agree. They're not going to make this a permanent canon change, so I'm interested to see how they get out of it. I'm guessing he's like a double agent or something or triple agent, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or time travel. That's always a good one.
Yeah, because all we know from these past couple comics is that Steve Rogers' mom dabbled in being Hydra for a little bit. Captain America kicked a guy off of a plane, and then he says, "Hail Hydra," and that's the end. So the second issue hasn't even come out, and everybody's already exploding and overreacting like I am. But I do think there's going to be some kind of like twist or loophole. Be like, no, see, he wasn't really Hydra, but it's just silly writing. It's like playing with fans' emotions to leave them on this cliffhanger that is going to hold no weight, because at the end of the day, we know Captain America is going to stand for righteousness and justice and freedom and
truth, justice, in the American way.
Yeah, the Superman of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it'll be interesting regardless of how it turns out. And at the end of the day, I think that's what you really want as a comic book fan, is an interesting storyline.
Yeah. Everything about Captain America kind of shows him being against change. Not in like the like ridiculously conservative way, but like he is literally somebody that they grabbed out of time, out of the 40s. So his ideals should kind of represent that.
Yeah.
And yeah, characters do change, but the way I'm trying to say this is really, he's not the type of person that is going, like, there aren't the Captain America stories of like, what if he was a Nazi, or what if he was this or that. Like, there are other characters, and he's usually more idealistic, he's more stalwart than the others are. And that's not to say that he can't be human, but that he's supposed to represent the best of what we have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see how that plays out and report back.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing that I brought Michael on the show to talk about is DC Rebirth, which we already touched on a tiny little bit here. Now, I don't know what DC Rebirth is about, so is it like the new 52? Like, are they like totally redoing the whole universe?
They're not totally redoing it, but they're like changing a lot of the things.
Okay.
They're looking at what a lot of the people's problems have been with the new 52. And do you mind if I like kind of just spoil a lot of the big things?
I don't care.
Okay.
Just tell the people.
So this is going to be spoilers for DC Rebirth, which came out like Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. So a lot of people have been having problems with the new 52 ever since it started. Like, people don't like how Superman has been represented. They think it's just way too dark. And DC Rebirth is really them looking back on that and retroactively being like, okay, let's see if we can bring the hope back into this. And the author, Jeff Johns, that's like what he's describing as the big theme of Rebirth, is optimism and hope. So it's revealed at the end of DC Rebirth, and this is like the big like spoiler thing, that it wasn't just the Flash going back in time and changing everything that started up the new 52. Somebody else on the outside was fixing things, moving things around.
Interesting.
And that's why time is set so back, and that's why things are significantly different. Like, that's why there are like 2 Wally Wests now, and things are weird. So the old Wally West does come back because he's the one that kind of jumpstarts this, because he's trying to reach out of the Speed Force.
Okay.
Because the new Wally West of the new 52 is black, and he's like related to Iris in a different way than Wally West was, because Wally West was her nephew.
Right.
But the new 52 Wally West was like her cousin's nephew or something random. So they're like, oh, see, look, loopholes. We're both existing at the same time, but we're both named Wally West. And he's reaching out of the Speed Force and trying to get back into existence, be like, guys, this isn't how things used to be. This is, like, things used to be different. Nobody's having a good time anymore. Like, he looks at like Batman, and like he's like trying to reach out to Batman, who's just like wallowing in his Batcave being miserable, and he reaches out to his pre-New 52 or pre-Flashpoint, his wife, tries to reach out to her, and she has no idea who he is. Nobody remembers this Wally West because he never existed. And finally he reaches out to the Flash, who Barry Allen started the whole Flashpoint thing. And he finally remembers him. And it's because, well, one, Flash was the one that started Flashpoint, and two, because he is the most optimistic or the most hopeful of all the superheroes. Like, he would, like, Wally West was, like, making these nice comments about how Flash would always be the one to stop and make sure everybody's okay, like all the people that he saved, because he has, well, one, he has the time, and two, because he's just the nicest person. Like, he said he always had a smile on his face. Like, there's this, like, hopeful little happy anecdote about how Flash got everybody pizza one time, because and he, like, tipped the restaurant by, like, renovating their entire kitchen. It's just, like, those are, like, the fun things that we don't see in comics as much anymore. So it's a commentary on how after the 80s, with, like, The Dark Knight Returns and some of the more deconstructionalist comics, which are really good, but ever since then people have been trying to replicate that, but to less effect. And the reason those deconstructionalist comics worked so well is because we only had happiness and, like, craziness prior to it, but they, like, kind of observed everything and looked at what was going on and stood out as something different. But ever since then, it was kind of just dark and morbid. So Rebirth is standing against that. And in the most interesting way it's standing against that is because the person who is outside of the Flashpoint, outside of the universe that created the New 52 universe, is Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen.
What?
Yes. So at the end, it's revealed that, like, there's, like, quotes from Watchmen, or there's, like, a reference to Watchmen at the very beginning, and I was like, what on earth is happening here? And for anybody who doesn't know, Watchmen was one of these comics in the 80s, a big graphic novel that served as, like, the deconstruction of superheroes and what it means to be a hero, and it's very, very, very dark. I read it in 8th grade, which was probably, like, a little too young to read a book that intense where, like, 1 billion people died or something crazy. It's very depressing. And Dr. Manhattan is, like, all-powerful. The only thing that can stop him is, like, time travel, because he sees time differently than everyone else. So that's the only thing that can fix him, or, like, anyone can even, like, get past him, because he's omnipotent. He knows everything from every when. And at the end of Watchmen, he talks about, like, oh, I'm bored with this planet, I think I'm going to go create a new one. Or, like, he talks about, like, going to be the god of somewhere else. So now it's revealed that Dr. Manhattan, like, that, like, universe or whatever he creates, is the New 52. He alters things to happen. So he's not a bad guy. He's a hero. He has this crisis in Watchmen about, like, why even care for life, and he has this revelation that, like, oh yeah, all life is sacred, and he goes out to go create more of it. So the suffering that happens because of the New 52 isn't because Dr. Manhattan's a bad guy and wants to see everybody suffer, but because he's viewing this as a science experiment. He's wanting to see what happens. So hopefully, as DC Rebirth goes on, there's this philosophical confrontation between the heroes of the DC universe and Dr. Manhattan, because that's really the only way they can stop him, is really to convince him to be nice. Like, I don't see, like, the heroes in DC are a lot more powerful than the heroes in Watchmen were, but I really can't understand if anybody could stop him. Like, maybe Superman or, like, Spectre or Phantom Stranger or somebody, but it would really be an interesting resolution to see just, like, a conversation happening, and that, like, leading to a revelation of, like, see, we can have the old good 80s dark comics, but we can also lean more hopeful in the end. And there's a ton of other revelations made. I don't know if I have time to, like, go into, like, everything else that happens. Like, New 52 Superman dies, but, like, pre-Flashpoint Superman comes back, so it's like, hey, you have your good Superman again. And other crazy things happen. Like, there are 3 Jokers and not just one. That's why, like, nobody knows who he is. Tons of other stuff. But I think one of the more interesting things to take away from this is where this leaves comics and where this leaves DC in particular. Because Jeff Johns has been the author of this book and the person who's been, like, let's get superheroes to be happy and hopeful again and interesting again, is now the newly appointed like president of this newly created thing called DC Films. So he's like going to be like the Kevin Feige of the DC cinematic universe. Like Kevin Feige's the producer of Marvel Entertainment, and he kind of oversees the creation of every single MCU movie. So Jeff Johns is going to be serving a similar role. So that's incredibly exciting that we're going to have something more happy and fun than Batman versus Superman was, hopefully, because he's going to be steering everybody in the right direction.
One can only hope.
Yeah.
Man, that is one hell of a retcon.
Yeah. And there's a lot more going on. That was only the first issue. It was a long issue, but it was still only the first one. And I normally don't buy comics like issue to issue. I usually wait for the collection to come out. But DC Rebirth had already leaked online, and everybody was talking about it. It was like, I gotta get the first one. I have to. And I'm very glad I did. It was only $3, so it was $3 well spent.
Yeah, I went to the comic book store on Friday to try and pick it up, and they didn't have it.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah, it's definitely really popular. Man, I have questions, but I don't even know where to start.
No, yeah, like, about what exactly?
Like, I don't know, because it's like, so there's two parallel universes existing at the same time, so there's like, or not universes, like timelines. So there's like New 52 and pre Flashpoint like at the same time, and they're like going back and forth. Or
I don't understand exactly how pre 52, pre Flashpoint, post Crisis, whatever you want to call it, because DC's been retconning its own multiverse since the 80s.
Yeah, like
continuously, because there was Crisis on Infinite Earths, then Infinite Crisis, I think, then Final Crisis, then Flashpoint, now this. It's getting ridiculous, but hopefully this is kind of the final thing. Yeah, there have always been like multiple Earths,
right?
Quote, air quotes, in the DC multiverse, but New 52 was supposed to like say there's just one, this is the new one continuity. And like as far as continuity went, it was fine. It kind of like set everybody back 10 years, so like the heroes were younger, so they had more room to tell more stories. Like Batman can't be doing the same things at 50 as he could have when he was 30.
Right.
So it's kind of their excuse for stopping the clock a little bit. But no, right now it's only as far as we know, I mean, like there's a lot more revelations to be made. That right now it's still only the 52 universe, and like it's not totally being rewritten, right? It's just like a lot of revelations being made. So I think it's just going to change the tone and like change a lot of way things are being written and made. And the biggest, like the only like retcon, air quote, change is going to be Superman, because Superman's a totally different character now. Want to know something else ridiculous? Darkseid comes back as a baby. At the end of Justice League, like 50 or something, like Darkseid is like, he's not killed, but like he's like loses his power and he like reverts into a baby. So he's being raised by his daughter in this. And if you thought like normal Darkseid was creepy, just like looking at like a little like pudgy Darkseid with like the Omega beam, like red eyes, like there's just so many weird things that happened. But if you couldn't tell, I'm very excited.
Yeah, well, there you have it. That's a much better analysis than I could have given you, especially since haven't read the comic yet. Hopefully I can find it and
definitely pick it up.
Yeah.
We need to like show that this is the right direction to go.
Yeah. So you said that hope was going to be a big theme of the new line, and the Blue Lantern Corps is powered by hope. So I hope they get a big spotlight. I think that would be really cool, because I think other than the Green Lanterns and the Yellow Lanterns, all the other Lantern Corps are really underused and underappreciated. So
Red Lanterns had their own comic run at the beginning of New 52 for a while, but I don't know if it continued because it wasn't really one that I read.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're gonna keep that whole the Green Lantern spectrum going because obviously, like the Blue Lanterns or their emotion is hope.
Yeah.
So that would make a lot of sense.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Oh gosh, other random things that probably happened. What else do I need to know? I guess to explain the three Jokers thing a little more, because that's probably the most interesting. At the end of the Darkseid War, also, Batman, like, they all get the power of gods, like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And Batman, he gets Metron's chair, which is, it had a certain name, but I don't remember what it is, but it gets the user infinite knowledge. So Batman asks the chair, he's like, what is the Joker's name? Because he's like, I have no idea who this guy is. Who is the Joker? And the chair responds with, like, there are three Jokers, so the Joker has no true name. And so that's where they start in DC Rebirth, is like Batman, like, in his Batcave trying to figure out, like, what the hell is happening, because the three Jokers that they establish are, one is, like, the original Joker from, like, the 40s through to the 70s and 80s, but then the second Joker is like the darker Joker from the 80s to the 90s and onward. That's like the Killing Joke Joker is the like image that was shown on the Bat computer when he was like, these are the three Jokers. And then the final one was the New 52 Joker, like the ridiculously dark and crazy one, the one who had his face torn off and was wearing his own skin as a mask. It's like, talk about the darkness in the New 52, right? So I'm glad that was a direction they went, because one of the big news pieces when Rebirth was announced was that, like, the Joker's identity is going to be revealed, which is a terrible idea, because the Joker is supposed to be someone who's ambiguous, anonymous. He's supposed to be chaotic, and you're not. The less you know about him, the better, because that's the more fearful he is. And if you give him a name and a backstory and this pathos, it's interesting, but at the same time, it takes a lot away from him. So, like in the Killing Joke, when there was this backstory going on, you're like, are they giving the Joker a full-fledged backstory? At the end, he reveals, like, this just could have been what happened. I might have just been lying to you the whole time because, like, I don't give a crap. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I haven't read The Killing Joke, but I'm looking forward to the movie coming out soon.
Oh, it looks really good, and it looks like they're going to be very faithful to it. It's another one of those, like, really dark 80s, like, deconstructions of the superheroes, and I don't know, the animation in the new movie looks like they're going in a very retro direction, which is something very interesting.
Yep.
I don't know. I love talking about comics. Like, this is like, I feel like this conversation has been pretty one-sided because I've been ranting this whole time.
Yeah, well, I just don't have as much to say because, I don't know, comics just always really, like, scared me, I guess, in a way, because there's so much going on. Like, there's always so many series happening. It's just really hard to keep up, and so that just kind of is off-putting to me. Yeah. Because, like, I want to, like, read everything and collect everything, but it's basically impossible.
No, and it's a very expensive habit.
Yeah,
like, that's why I said I wait till the collection comes out, because that's a lot cheaper to do. And I don't really buy much Marvel. I'm, like, really more up into DC because I just like it better. I like the writing a lot better. But with the Captain America thing, I had to, like, nose in, like, excuse me. So if you don't think you got anything else to say, I think my rant is over.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming and spreading some knowledge. I thought it was really interesting. My curiosity is piqued. So if more crazy stuff, new Rebirth stuff happens, you're more than welcome to come back in.
Oh, yeah. It's going to keep going on. That was just, like, the starter.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have, like, DC Rebirth 2 and stuff like that. But they're also kind of revamping each individual character. So there's going to be, like, a Flash Rebirth series that's going to go on for, like, a little bit. And then a Green Lantern Rebirth series that's going to go on for a little bit, and Batman and stuff. And Action Comics and Detective Comics are going back to their original numbering, which is like in the 900s or something, which is good because like I like seeing Detective Comics #1 is like really you just had to start it all over, but it's definitely going to keep going on for a while. I think the next issues that come out are going to be June 1st, so that's going to be with all the new characters and how they're reacting to everything else that's going on.
Cool beans. All right, well, Michael, thank you for coming. Why don't you tell people where to find you on the internet?
Okay, so if you listen to the last podcast, I have a really stupid Twitter handle that I should probably change. It's I guess you can tag it in like the description or anything, so it's easier to find. It's like @_Mike_ and then Mike backwards, like EKIM _ So I tried to make it a palindrome, but I don't know. Like the normal without the underscores is already taken. So that's it.
All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this. I don't even know what to call it. This comic book side discussion.
Yeah.
Sure. We'll call it that.
Buy more comics. It's a dying like thing. I don't know. Sales have gone down for a while, so.
Well,
it's a good practice to
I mean,
get
as
back
long
into.
as Marvel continues to make billions of dollars on their movies, I think they can fund the comic books.
I think we'll keep going, yeah.
All right, anyway, so that's it for Michael and me. So listen to whatever song I put in here, and then I'll be back with Brandon momentarily.
Peace.
Okay, and now I'm back with Brandon.
It's
Back
like
in black.
It's like I never left.
Yeah,
It's like I never left.
Almost. So, we got some movie trailers to talk about.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first we're going to talk about Beauty and the Beast. So, Brandon, why don't you tell the people how you feel about Emma Watson?
I can't.
Why not?
No words can describe it.
So, would you call it an indescribable feeling?
It is.
Okay, well, that's a different Disney movie.
In a whole new world.
Okay, so...
She's amazing. I love her so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll listen to this.
I hope she does. Then she's be like, great, another one of these stalkers. It's not like I get these every single day, but whatever. I feel bad about this. I remember when news came out that she had broken up with her boyfriend. Oh, I was so excited about that. I was like, yeah. And then 5 minutes later, I was like, should I really be so happy about this?
How old is she?
How old is she?
Yeah.
20-something.
I thought you would know, like, her exact...
I really, really like her. I'm not a stalker.
Okay. Anyway, she's probably too old for you.
I'm 21, man.
Yeah.
Age is just a number.
I guess.
I don't know if I completely believe that, but sure.
All right. Anyway, so Emma Watson is playing Belle in this live-action reimagining. I don't think they're calling them remakes. I think they're calling them reimaginings.
Or adaptation.
Sure. I think reimagining sounds more magical.
Imagination.
Yeah.
Thank you, SpongeBob.
Anyway, so Emma Watson is Belle.
She is.
She's
yes.
not French. They should have gotten a French actress, I think. But whatever.
Like Marion Cotillard.
She's too old. I'm just gonna be.
Age is just a number.
I'm just gonna say it straight up. She's too old. But I don't know any other French actresses. What about the girl who played Fleur? Yeah.
Is that the only one else you know?
Pretty much.
I know like one other French actress. She came in the Da Vinci Code. But she's like 40 now. So.
That's pretty old.
Unless they want to go for an older Belle. Her name's like Audrey Tattoo or something like that.
Anyway, so what did you think of this trailer?
I mean, it was your typical Disney live-action trailer. I did like how it showed the castle of the beast, and how in the inside you see different rooms and it's a glory and it's beautiful, it's well lit, but you see a slow transition and it becomes all dark and gloomy and run down. So I thought that was just a nice little visual effect that they did. So I liked it. Nothing real. I mean, it was nice to look at, but nothing really came to me until the two voices came of, our favorite clock and candle.
Who are named?
I actually forgot their names.
I said it when we were watching the trailer.
Yeah.
It's Cogsworth and Lumiere.
Cogsworth and Lumiere.
Yes.
Always forget that. When they spoke, then I started getting into it, and then you see the rose come on screen. And that's when, for me, it finally caught my attention.
Because that's when Emma Watson came on screen.
Damn it, why did you, I was about to say that. Oh! But when the music came, and it said, "Be our guest," that's when I think the Disney nostalgia hit me, and encouraged me to, actually watch the movie. So, I actually have not seen most of Disney's live-action adaptations.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen any of them.
But the parts I have seen, they're not my favorite, but they're entertaining to watch.
Which ones have come out? So I know there's Cinderella, Maleficent, Alice in Wonderland.
If you want, you could say that, yeah.
Pete's Dragon is coming out.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Am I missing any?
It's gonna be just like his own Targaryen thing.
Oh my gosh. He looks more like Smaug than anything else.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I think those are the only live action ones.
Jungle Book.
Oh yeah.
Which I have yet to see.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see that one. I haven't seen that one.
If I was gonna see any of them, it would definitely be Jungle Book.
I saw a little bit of Cinderella. I actually liked it.
I've only seen the original Cinderella once.
Like the animated one?
Yeah.
I've never seen that, believe it or not.
I believe it.
I'm glad you care so much.
I mean, we're guys. I don't even remember why I saw it.
Do you watch Once Upon a Time?
Yeah.
I don't watch that. I've been told to watch it. I don't feel encouraged to watch it.
It has its moments, but it's not that great.
Only time I've ever been I really felt the need to watch it was I heard when Mulan was coming.
Yeah.
Because Mulan was one of my favorite Disney movies. But then I was like, I'll get to it some other time, and I just never got to it.
Yeah. It's whatever.
But that was my take on the trailer, and mostly because Emma Watson. Maybe she will listen to this, and she's gonna be like, "Oh, this guy has a really awesome voice." Until she sees my picture and I could do better. What about you?
I thought the trailer was pretty boring.
Of course you did.
I'm
not saying it's a bad thing. That just shows how much I know you, Alex.
That's true. Yeah, it really didn't show much, and I'm not surprised because the movie doesn't come out for another 10 months. So,
yeah, that one. This is the first trailer that they've shown, right?
So I mean, there's plenty of stuff that'll come out in the meantime, but this one, yeah, the shots of the castle, I was whatever, and then the thing with the rose and Emma Watson, I was like, okay, great.
Don't you ever say she's just okay. I will fight you right now.
And yeah, it just, for me, because I'm not super excited for this movie, they're gonna have to do a lot more to draw me in.
Yeah.
I think one way they could do that would probably be to show part of one of the musical numbers, like the Be Our Guests scene is probably other than maybe the ballroom scene, is probably the most memorable scene in that movie. So I think that could look really cool with all of the CGI, plates and food and stuff. I think that could look really good.
One thing I would like to do, there's no real reason behind it, but just in the trailers to not fully show the beast. I mean, you know how it looks like, so there's no real reason to hide it, but it would just add to that layer of mystery.
Yeah.
So you would just, in the trailer, it would show glimpses of the beast, but never full on reveal him in the trailers.
I think that would behoove them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now, Daniel Radcliffe is in this movie.
Yeah, apparently. I just saw it right now. So Apparently, Harry and Hermione are coming back together.
Do you ship it?
Do I ship it? I was always Ron and Hermione.
Spoilers.
I know, right?
Okay, I know this is a tangent, but whatever. I still don't understand that relationship. Like, it just...
With Ron and
Yeah,
Hermione?
she just, like, threw them together. She kind of hinted at it in the 6th book, but it didn't, like, really come together until the 7th book, and it was just totally out of nowhere. It seemed really out of character mostly for Hermione. I guess I could see how Ron would feel that way, but it didn't satisfy
for me, for them, because they were foils to each other. Hermione and Ron, character-wise and personality-wise, they were very different from each other, and they come from very different backgrounds. But you have to admit, the three of them are like they were misfits, basically. They don't come from like the traditional wizarding family. Most traditional was Ron, and a lot of times he got like looked down upon because of the burrow. And how many siblings do you have again?
6.
Yeah. So he was just like, you know, I don't say like a second-hand or a second-rate citizen, but, you know, they didn't think of him as like as important. And, you know, Hermione was mudblood. And Harry was, famous as he was, he still was out of place. So that's how they all like mingled together. And
What does that have to do with the two of them getting together?
I just saw because they represent opposite sides of the spectrum. You know, Hermione is very smart. She's meticulous. She's very organized. She likes to follow the rules. She likes to do everything a certain way. Ron doesn't care as much. He's a little bit of a chicken sometimes.
He's not very smart. He's poor.
It's not very.
Well,
it's not that he's not very smart.
He's not very smart.
He's like average.
Okay.
But he's still Ron. He's lovable.
I guess.
Look, okay, you can hate on them as much as you want.
I'm just saying it didn't
What? Okay,
feel...
she's making a new book. Do you want them to get divorced in that one?
I did not say that. That would just make it worse.
Do you want that to happen?
No.
And now Harry can't be with his friends, but it being awkward. And like one of them asked about like, how's the kid? You should know. You had him the other day. Is that what you want?
No.
Broken family in the wizarding world.
No, I want to go back in time and tell her she should rewrite the story.
Use the time turner.
Yes. Well, I mean, the time turner. Come on, that doesn't make any sense.
Why?
Because all the time turners were destroyed in the Ministry of Magic. Duh. Gosh. Anyway,
well, ones that you knew of. Man, you know the Ministry of Magic is government. And governments always have secrets.
Anyway, why? Okay, we're done with Harry Potter now. So, yeah, Beauty and the Beasts, I'm very ambivalent towards it.
Yeah. But you're not totally against it.
Which
I think is a good thing.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of all of these live action Disney movies. Mm-hmm. At least at the rate they're putting them out. If they spread them out more, I would be more accepting towards it, but I feel like they're just like pumping them out because they.
I remember when they first started doing it, which I would say was probably when Once Upon a Time came out. I got really excited about that because wow, this is something we've never done before. And then, you know, everybody started doing it, and then I just thought, okay, there's nothing really special about this, you know, the story behind it, so it's not terrible, it's just, you know, kind of generic.
Yeah.
That's just how I see it.
But what live action Disney movie do you want to see?
Aladdin. I want to see Aladdin. Aladdin is one of my favorite ones. Aladdin or Mulan.
Yeah, I think Mulan probably lends itself to being live action more, just because Aladdin, you have the genie and the magic carpet and Abu, and I feel like that would just be. It's harder to mesh the real life and the CGI together, whereas, you know, with Mulan, it's a lot. There's not a lot that you would have to animate other than Mushu and Cricket. I think that's pretty.
I saw on Tumblr that somebody wanted a live action Mulan, and they want a live action Mushu, but they want Eddie Murphy to play it. But they don't want a CGI Mushu. They want Eddie Murphy wearing a Mushu costume and playing the role of Mushu. But Mulan, definitely, yeah. For sure.
I want to see live action Toy Story.
A live action Toy Story.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, with lots of strings.
Might as well be asking for a live action Pinocchio.
Well, they already did that.
They did already?
Yeah, and they're making another one.
Oh, I thought you meant to talk about the new one that they're making.
Well, they
which
are doing
which
that.
apparently Robert Downey Jr. is a part of.
Okay, I did not know that. I think he would make a good Geppetto.
He could.
I don't know. I haven't seen Pinocchio in years.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But knowing
any
how
characters.
like, you know, everything has to be dark now, I foresee Ultron coming into this movie.
I hope so. That would make my day.
Like, he has the high voice and just goes really deep all of a sudden. It's like, I have no strings now.
If nothing else, they'll do it in How It Should Have Ended.
They will have to. They have to do that. I swear. I honestly think that was like one of like the best marketing things of the MCU with the no strings. I just thought it was really good because it just caught on really quickly.
I mean, I would say so because obviously we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
We still think it's funny, but at the same time, when I saw that the first time, I was like, okay, we get it, Disney. You own Marvel. You don't have to like throw it in our faces all the time.
Yeah.
And they did it again with Star Wars in Civil War with the Spider-Man AT-AT thing.
Look, you didn't like it. I liked it. Once again, to each his own. Is whatever.
I'm just saying, Disney doesn't have to constantly remind us that they own all of these different properties and they're slowly taking over the entertainment.
I feel like it was just
business.
like a nudge by like the writers to like, yeah, we know you guys are gonna talk about it.
I guess.
I mean, we're talking about it now.
I guess. All right, let's move on to another Disney movie because Disney owns all of the things.
I'm not complaining.
I'm complaining a little bit. But
Just because they have a monopoly, Alex. All right. I thought you would enjoy that since you like Monopoly so much.
only the game, not in real life.
Yeah.
So, Finding Dory comes out in a few weeks, and they just released a new trailer. And it told us a lot more about the story, about what's going to happen, so that was good. Didn't tell us too much.
Yeah, which I liked about that.
Yeah, so I'm still...
It's always good when trailers do
so
that.
there's a few pieces there, and so you can kind of put together what's going to happen, but there's still a lot we don't know. So I thought that was really good as far as telling us a lot more than we already knew, but not enough, but enough to make us keep wondering and want to see the movie.
And you see a bunch of people come back. You see, of course, Dory comes back. Nemo comes back. Marlin comes back. Crush, he comes back. Mr. Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Ray comes back. And you see more of the new characters, which I like. I like the octopus. They never said his name.
His name is Hank.
His name's Hank?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Hank, and I'm starting to like Hank. I like Hank.
He seems pretty cool.
Yeah, and then there's the whale shark that
Yeah.
Dory has.
Yeah.
And there's something Alex said which was true, that essentially it's a similar premise to the first one.
Yeah,
in
because
that
she gets taken.
Dory gets taken, and she gets taken to a
and
marine.
then Liam Neeson comes in, and he's going to be like, I will find you, and I will kill you.
What kind of fish would he play?
A barracuda.
The one that killed Marlon's wife? And, like, he sees him
I
like...
didn't think about that until I said it. But yeah, why not?
Yeah, but I don't know. Just I know some of the sequels of Pixar haven't been the greatest.
Yeah.
I've liked them so far. I know other people have not liked them.
Other than Toy Story, I think that was really the only sequel that those are the only sequels that I felt truly deserved sequels. Monsters U, I didn't need a prequel to that story, definitely. Cars 2, don't even get me started.
I like that one.
Seriously?
I do like it. Yeah, I'm
Whatever.
serious.
Those are the only ones with sequels, I think.
So far that I can remember,
Yeah, and the Incredibles 2,
which we're
cannot wait.
still waiting for.
Cannot wait.
It took this long to get here.
I know, but as long as it's as good as the first one or better, then I'll be happy.
I bet you Frozone secretly directs a government branch.
Oh my god!
And he brings the
What is
the Incredibles.
What is
in there.
direct? Oh, direct. Oh,
Direct.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay, good. I want to talk to you about the Incredibles initiative.
Anyway, Finding Dory. I wasn't looking forward to it too much, but after this trailer, I probably will see it.
I'm surprised it's coming out in June 17th, right?
Yeah.
Just that's like what, 2 weeks from now?
Uh,
Actually, no, 3 weeks from now.
yeah, 3 weeks.
Yeah. But I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, should be good.
Probably go watch it and be like, yay! And I'll probably cry in the middle because I always cry during Pixar movies. Nobody ever sees, so just...
It's dark. That's the good thing about a movie theater.
Yeah, be like, oh, dang. The straw poked my eye again. That's happened before, and then like somebody thought I was crying, but they thought like, why are you just crying from one eye? I'm like, shut up. But Finding Dory, I'm really excited.
Yeah.
We get to see Dory and more Dorys. I have to admit, some of her interactions in the what is it, aquarium or marine institution?
Both, I think. Well, I don't know.
It was really funny because I don't know. You watch the trailer and then judge for yourself.
Okay, and then the last movie trailer we have to talk about is Star Trek Beyond.
What do you think about it?
I thought it was pretty good. Definitely better than the first trailer.
Me too, definitely.
Now, you haven't seen the other two Star Trek movies.
I saw the first one.
Oh,
I didn't see Into Darkness.
Okay. That's fine. Into Darkness was okay, but definitely nowhere near as good as the first one.
I heard Benedict Cumberbatch was the highlight of that one.
Yeah, we've said this on the show before.
This
but this movie, I feel like there hasn't been a lot of hype for it. There hasn't been a lot of marketing or anything, which is really surprising.
Really?
So that doesn't really bode well for the movie, I don't think. This trailer... So I'm not a Trekkie at all.
Yeah, me neither.
All I know of the Star Trek is the two movies, and I've seen a few clips of the original show.
Yeah.
I've seen one episode of The Next Generation because Father Mike had us watch it on retreat one time.
Why?
I don't remember. Anyway. Yeah, so that is the extent of my Star Trek knowledge. So whatever these aliens are in the new movie, I don't know what they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they are either. I just know that Idris Elba plays it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the guy that was like, I am counting on it. Yeah, that was Idris Elba.
So he's not canceling the apocalypse. He is the apocalypse. Plot twist.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, we never saw that coming. Man, okay, you know how... Okay, quick tangent. You know how X-Men Apocalypse came out, right?
Yeah.
The minute I opened up, like, the comments, because, like, it was a spoiler-free review, people were just saying, like, is Idris Elba in there? He just, like, went up to Apocalypse, like, I'm canceling you. He's never going to get away from that. But, yes, he plays the villain. And the villain, he had, like, maybe 6 seconds of time in the trailer. So he seemed like an okay villain. Not too much. He was in the villainous role. His, appearance looks cool. It looks all, like practical effect.
Yeah.
So
very reptilian.
Yeah.
I'd have to say.
Yeah. The trailer itself, I see a lot more exploration. So they're really going on the trekking thing. The Enterprise gets destroyed again. So it's just like a helicarrier. It always gets destroyed.
Yeah, so I'm gonna see this movie, but
I might see this movie.
I'm not particularly like looking forward to it. I just feel like I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, that's in theaters. I don't have anything to do.
It's a summer
I'll go
movie.
see it, so.
It's a summer movie.
Yep. Okay, well, I guess that's all the movie trailer news we have for this week.
I mean, at least there was like some development.
Yeah.
It's just with Kirk, he's like struggling to see like, am I gonna be my own person or I'm gonna be my dad?
Yeah.
But
Thor.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. I mean, if Heimdall's in there.
So much crossover.
I know, right?
So little time.
Just one big old universe.
I wish. No, I don't. That would be too confusing.
All right.
Okay, so now we're going to do our top 5 underrated cartoons. So if you recall from episode... I think it was episode 4.
We'll have to check.
Anyway, several episodes ago we did our top 5 cartoons, which we will run down for you really quickly. So my top 5 cartoons were Avatar: The Last Airbender, Ben 10, The Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Young Justice, and the Green Lantern animated series.
And mine were The Simpsons, The Animaniacs. Simpsons. What did I say?
Simpsons.
Whatever. Simpsons. Animaniacs. Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the computer animated series. Jackie Chan Adventures, and Samurai Jack.
And then a few episodes after that, we did our top 5 animes, which were...
Totally forgot about those.
Oh, you don't remember yours?
I could try. You go first, and I'll try to see if I remember mine.
So mine were Death Note, Dragon Ball Z, Attack on Titan, Metabots, and Digimon.
And my 5 were... Let me see if I can remember. Dang it. Bobobo. The name still. D. Greyman, Bleach, Dragon Ball Z, of course, and Ouran High School Host Club.
Yeah. So now we're going to do our top 5 underrated cartoons. So that's basically just their cartoons that we've seen that aren't our absolute favorites, but we think they're really good, and we think that you should watch them too.
And they deserve a lot more attention.
Yeah.
So
me go first.
you go first.
So my first one is Batman the Brave and the Bold.
Which is mine too.
Yeah, because great minds think alike.
alike. So tell us what you think about it.
Okay, so Batman the Brave and the Bold is the best Batman cartoon for one reason and one reason only.
The best Batman cartoon?
It's the best Batman cartoon.
Okay, please say.
Because of the writing.
Mm-hmm.
The writing in the show is just absolutely incredible. So, backing up a little bit. So, Batman now, for the most part, is very dark, grim, serious, really Batman-y. I don't know how else,
Batman-y.
Yeah, I don't know how else to describe it.
The Night.
Yeah. But long ago, way before Brandon and I were born, Batman was a really weird and like eccentric cartoon. Well, not cartoon, comic. And
during I think
Batman 66
Yeah.
with Adam West, that was the height of Batman's eccentricness.
That was back when superheroes were known to be campy, and they embraced that.
And so this cartoon, Batman the Brave and the Bold, harkens back to that age, and it's really refreshing to see this less serious side of Batman. Not to say that there aren't serious parts, because there's one episode, I won't say what you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know definitely what happens.
There's one episode that hits you in the feels like no other Batman cartoon ever has,
or like any Batman thing has done.
Yeah,
really,
it was, man, that was crazy. But not only that episode, so that's like the highlight of the show, but there are other just really good, funny, quirky, weird things. Another staple of this show is that in every episode Batman teams up with a different hero.
That's true, yeah.
And for the most part they're really they're like B-list heroes, so he teams up with Plastic Man a lot, Aquaman, Blue Beetle, a few others, but
Green Arrow makes an appearance a couple times.
Yeah. So not like your big name like Superman and Martian Manhunter and Flash.
But they do come in the show though.
Yeah, but for the most part, when he teams up with them, it's the lesser known heroes.
Which I really liked.
Yeah, because for example, like Blue Beetle. Well, I think I just watched Young Justice before I watched this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but anyway, it was a really great exposure to learn about Blue Beetle and some other cooler characters like Plastic Man. Like I didn't really know much about Plastic Man until I saw this, and now he's one of my favorites. He's really cool.
Yeah, and I just love that you see every character has a different personality. Yeah. So Batman's personality, he's still Batman in that he's serious, but it's not overly serious like you see him in other incarnations. He has humor. It's just a very dry, witty humor, which I thought it's still Batman. He's a little bit different, but he's still Batman. And one thing that Alice mentioned it was good is it really embraces the '60s feel of it, of the superhero age. And
even the animation, and even
like the music you'll listen to.
Yeah,
I think the only person who doesn't really do it is Green Arrow. He's like one of the few that doesn't really do that, and he acknowledges it when he sees them acting this way. He's like, "Why? Just get it over with." I think my favorite of the supporting cast is probably Aquaman.
Yeah,
because he's just so over enthusiastic and just grander and everything, and he's just so optimistic all the time. He's just stark contrast against Batman, and overall it doesn't follow a huge storyline.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
there's probably only a few episodes that
connect.
Yeah,
but if you want just it's such a good time because I don't want to say that it's not cheesy, but
It's really cheesy.
It knows it's cheesy,
Yeah.
so it's aware of that. So it does it to be humorous, and it's just, I don't know. It's just, if you can be any age and enjoy it, kids will love it because it appeals to them, and grown-ups will love it because, first off, if they were around during that time, they'll remember that, and if they've grown up with more of the darker version of the Batman, it's like a nice thing to be introduced into something else. So it breaks the fold in that way.
Yeah, for sure. Also, Hammers of Justice.
That's right. And we've mentioned it a couple times. One of our favorite moments was Batman International.
Oh, Batman of All Nations.
Yeah. So when they all came, and there were like Batmans from everywhere. And the thing is, I think it's the New 52 that he's done it where almost every country has a Batman.
Yeah.
So it's not a thing that hasn't been done before.
There's also the Batman of all ages.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a caveman Batman and like a vaquero Batman.
Yeah.
It's just so weird.
But it was just so hilarious to watch. It was awesome.
Yeah. All right. So next, I guess since that was our same one, I'll go.
You go, yeah.
Okay. So my next one is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Not the original cartoon, but the 2002 reboot on Cartoon Network. Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen every episode of the original He-Man series, as well as every episode of She-Ra,
You saw
Princess
that?
of Power. I have seen every episode.
Kudos to you.
What can I say about the original He-Man? So, He-Man is also his alter ego is Prince Adam, Prince of Eternia, and he's known as this lazy, easygoing kind of dude. He's just kind of
He was like this Tony Stark.
yeah. That's a pretty good way to put it. And his cat's name is Cringer, but he has this sword, and when he says the words by the power of Grayskull, he transforms into He-Man, who has uber strength, and actually that's pretty much his only power. He's a good strategist, I guess.
I think you're just like fishing for advantages.
Anyway, and then he can also Cringer also turns into Battle Cat. So anyway, that's the basic premise of He-Man, the original series. Now, the reboot takes everything about the original and it makes it 10 times better. The animation is better, the characters and their character progression and all of that, but most importantly, the story is better.
Voice acting is better too.
Oh yeah. The original series, every episode was pretty much a one shot. They didn't really tie anything together, but the reboot tied it all. There was an overarching plot, facing off against Skeletor, and then later on the Snake Men. I don't remember what they're called.
That's as much as I can help you at this point. I'm just like, I don't remember any of this.
Anyway, I feel like I'm not doing a good job of selling this, but it's
actually a good show. It's actually good.
If I was going to pick one show out of the list that I have here that you should watch, I would say it's this one, because it just doesn't get the love that it deserves.
I agree with that,
It got canceled after only 2 seasons, and it just
I know.
it was so good.
So unfair.
There's one episode where they explain why He-Man calls upon the power of Grayskull, and when I saw that episode, my mind was just blown. I remember I was at work and I just sat there for a couple minutes just trying to soak it all in, and just like my mind was just like spinning because of all of the implications and all of the like lore and backstory that they took to explain this, and I was just, oh man, that was so good. So good.
So good.
So good.
So good.
Anyway, so if just one person out there hears what I'm saying and decides to give this cartoon a shot, I will be super happy. And please email me and let me know that you did.
All right, Robin, you heard your fiance. Get to it. So the next one on my list is Hey Arnold. Did you ever watch it?
Not super consistently. I mean, I've seen a fair share of episodes, but not a bunch.
So Hey Arnold was a show that came on Nickelodeon back when that was a thing. It's still a thing now,
It
but
is
it's
still a thing.
but like back in my day, it was the heyday of Nickelodeon. Came out in 1996, I believe, and it deals with this boy who I think he's in the 4th grade who has a football head and really big spiky yellow hair, and he lives in this like apartment or boarding
Yeah, it's
house
apartment.
with his grandma and grandpa and with a bunch of other tenants who were just really, really weird, but in a lovable kind of way. And like one of them is like an Eastern European guy. He always comes to everybody asking for money, but he never pays them back. And then he has his best friend who has this giant, tall, Marge Simpson looking hairdo. And when
Gerald, right? That was
Is it
his
Gerald?
name? I
Let
think
me-
that was his name.
I believe so. I don't know because it's been years since I've watched this cartoon, but I love this cartoon so much because for me it was my first example of huge diversity in cartoons because nobody ever looked the same. Everybody had their own personality. Everybody had their own struggles. There's a lot of struggles that you saw in this cartoon because specifically with Arnold, his parents aren't around, and it was never explained what happened to his parents. So not a lot of, but a couple of times you see throughout this show is him struggling to having or wanting a father figure or a mother figure.
He's basically like Peter Parker.
Holy crap, you're right. Let me see. Yeah, his best friend's name is Gerald.
Called it.
Yep, that's right. And there is just a bunch of other characters and supporting casts, and they were amazing because, believe it or not, a lot of times they got their own focus in episodes, and it was hilarious. Like Helga, the girl who crushes, or not even crushes, is straight up in love with Arnold, and it's really, really freaky because she will go to great lengths for that.
Because when she talks to him, she would always tell him how much she hates him and can't stand him. But then she has literally she has a shrine to him in her closet.
Yeah, and she has this locket that she always carries a picture of him. It's funny and freaky. It really is.
To me, that was always a very interesting part of the show because it just, I don't know, it was just a level of complexity that they could have left out that they included. And yeah, I thought that was cool.
And it also made from some really hilarious
Yeah.
situations because I remember one time she lost the locket and she was so scared that somebody was going to find it. And she goes on this wild goose chase around the city to find it. And then some other characters like Phoebe, she was just like this small Asian girl. Harold, who was the bully. Stinky, who was this large, he was not large, he was this tall, skinny kid from Arkansas. Sid. I think her name was Rhonda.
Yeah.
And then this guy named Eugene. I don't remember him. Yeah, I don't remember him. And then there was the principal and the teacher. And they were just really, really cool characters. And the show was so great. I remember it'd be one of those shows that I was never looking forward to, but when it was on TV, I would watch it.
Yeah.
And I would get into it. And it wasn't until recently that I looked back, like there was a lot of like grown up stuff that was talked about on the show. Specifically one thing that mentioned Woodstock. And
Oh, yeah.
if you guys ever want to look at that video, just type in Hey Arnold Woodstock. It'll come up. It's hilarious. But Hey Arnold, great cartoon. Definitely doesn't get the love and deserve it, it should. And if they ever decide to like continue a couple of more episodes, that'd be cool.
Well,
too.
they're coming out with a movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm super excited for that.
I don't know.
Also, I'm sorry. Okay, you say your thing. Now I'll say my
Well,
thing.
I was just gonna say I don't know if it's probably not gonna be a theatrical release. I don't know how they are putting it out, but I know that's definitely happening.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. One thing I forgot to mention, and I'll just tell you guys just to show you how funny it was. So Arnold's dad, his granddad was in World War II. And believe it or not, he was actually responsible for capturing a Nazi base because he gave the Nazis these like spoiled rations or something, and they ate it and they all got sick, and so they were able to capture the base. And yeah, it's just stuff like that. And his granddad's a little senile, so I don't know how accurate the depictions were, but it was just so funny. And he has all these stories that he goes on about. So definitely, Hey Arnold, go watch it. You next.
Okay, so my third one is Generator Rex. Now, we've talked on the show about Generator Rex before. This was way back in episode 2. He was in our...
Attack of the Clones.
What?
You said episode 2, so I was like, Attack of the Clones.
He was in our fanfic fights against Blue Beetle, which I totally won.
Bullcrap.
And so, if you didn't listen to that episode, which I wouldn't blame you because that was the one with the really terrible audio quality. Yeah. I will never stop apologizing for that, but whatever. So, Rex lives in this world where there was this giant, like, I forget if it's like a factory or like a reactor or something. Something exploded, and these nanobots went into the air. And so now everyone is infected with nanobots, and some people, I don't remember why, I don't know if they ever give an explanation, but some people, they will turn into these giant monsters called Evos. And Rex has the power to shut down, or either shut down or absorb. I think he absorbs the nanobots from the people and makes them human again. And he also has the power to make his arms huge, like metal fists, and he has like a jetpack and like a motorcycle, like legs, and like a giant gun and like a whip and just a bunch of different weapons that he can turn his body into. So yeah, that's what Rex can do. The reason I love this show so much is it's very similar to Ben 10. There's actually a crossover episode with Ben 10 Alien Force. And it's not quite as good as Ben 10 to me because I watched Ben 10 when I was younger. So there was a lot of that nostalgia and formation of my idea of a hero. Generator Rex, there's probably a little bit more story than in Ben 10, but I'm going to stop comparing it to Ben 10 because the similarities only go so far. But it's very similar to that. And I love Ben 10, so it only makes sense that I would love Generator Rex. That's pretty much all I have to say.
One of these days I'll watch it, along with my humongous list of 200 things else I have to watch. But you've sold me.
Yeah. And it's not very long. It's only 2 or 3 seasons, so...
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's... Usually, in my eyes, that's a benefit. Like, if it's a good show, it had a good run, then I'm okay with it being a little bit shorter. Now, if it's a really, really good show and it gets cut off too soon, like Young Justice or Green Lantern animated series, then
or He-Man.
It's sad. Or He-Man. Oh, damn it! Why'd you say that?
I'm sorry, you set yourself up for that one.
Yeah, I did.
So my next pick. Let's see. Of all of my picks, which I talk about, I am going to go with Pinky and the Brain.
Okay.
Now, as you guys knew, or I told you guys, Animaniacs is one of my top favorite shows. Pinky and the Brain. I love Pinky and the Brain. I guess you would say it's kind of cheating because they're connected shows. So sometimes you'll see Pinky and the Brain in the Animaniacs. Sometimes you'll see the Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain. But everything I said about Animaniacs, it follows with Pinky and the Brain because it follows that same type of humor and satire. I remember one time they made a spin-off of Microsoft. They were going somewhere, and it's to a company called Microsponge. And then Pinky thought they were like going to get dishwashing equipment. And then Brain explained that this was like the world's top leading company in computers.
You haven't explained the premise.
I know. I'm just saying that type of humor was there. Yeah, and then there was a Bill Gates type of character, and Brain called him the world's richest nerd. And that wasn't the first time he said it either. He says it throughout the episode. But it's humor like that really, really, even at a young age, I was able to pick up on pretty quickly. And you're centered on the two protagonists, Pinky and the Brain.
Are they protagonists?
Yeah.
I would say Brain is...
I think protagonist doesn't necessarily have to mean hero.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so Pinky and the Brain, two vastly different people. Oh, different characters because they're mice. Brain is this stoic, serious mastermind who's planning to take over the world. He's no nonsense. He loves to, make himself feel mighty and grand, and he's always looking to gain glory and to dominate the world. And Pinky doesn't care anything. He doesn't care about that at all. The only reason he helps out is because he absolutely loves the Brain as his best friend, and he'll do anything for the Brain. Otherwise, he's like the sweetest thing that was ever created because all he cares about is cute stuff, jokes, eating, sleeping, and all that nice Shazam. What? Is it because I said Shazam?
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyways. And just what I like about it is so much happens in one episode. One time they try to go around the world in 80 days, or they went in like less days than that. And the bet was like if they made it, they could rule the world or get something like that. And basically in that one episode, they were able to go to so many different locations and so much happens. And I just love that. There's no episode was boring. Of course, because it's a cartoon and it was in that same type of humor and animation. So of course, like it had to be like a lot of stuff happening at once. But there was a lot of subtle things that adults could pick up on. Not like adult humor, like that was inappropriate, but just like things that adults would get, such as like the Bill Gates thing. Because I'm pretty sure no, 6 or 7-year-old kid would have guessed about Microsoft and Bill Gates. Well, actually, I don't know about nowadays because they're weird, nowadays.
Because they all have iPads in there.
iPads and iPhones and everything. I didn't get a cell phone until I was like in middle school.
I didn't have one until 9th grade.
And I didn't get a touch screen until college.
Me neither.
So I was like, what is wrong with you kids? You know what? When I have kids, if I ever have kids, I'm going to make it a thing where they will not get touchscreens until they are in middle school. And even then, I will buy them like the lowest grade ones. And they will have to earn the right to get, upgrades. Anyways, that's beside the point. Pinky the Brain, hilarious cartoon. One of the classics of my childhood. You should definitely watch it if you're ever in the mood for some... You just really, really want to laugh and you just want to see ridiculous stuff on screen. Go watch it.
Yeah, I watched this when I was a kid too, and still, anytime someone says, "What do you want to do tonight?" I'll be like,
Same thing
we
do every night.
Time to take
over the world." Oh gosh, good times. I think
that's such a great line.
It really is.
That's such a classic.
I think one of my favorite episodes is when they try to recreate War of the Worlds. And then he was going to try and scare the human population into like seeing him as a savior from the aliens. And what's up happening is because he, instead of doing it from radio, he does it through television and newscasts, and he hijacks into like newscast systems. And he has Pinky play the role of the alien, and everybody thought it was like just giant, comedy bit. So they got world famous, just not in the way that he wanted. But that was my take on Pinky and the Brain.
All right, so my next pick is actually very similar because it is Freakazoid.
Oh, yeah.
So Freakazoid is also, it's not a spin-off of the Animaniacs like Pinky and the Brain was, but it's in the same universe. There's a lot of cameos of the Animaniacs in Freakazoid.
And it's same animation style.
Yeah. I don't know what his role was, but Steven Spielberg was involved in the production of all 3 of those cartoons.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he is Steven Spielberg, so
yeah.
He does everything.
So anyway, Freakazoid. So Freakazoid is sent around this kid. His name is Dexter Douglas. And one day, he's a nerd, and so he's like picked on at school and stuff. And so one day, he was sitting at his computer and he gets like sucked in or something. And he absorbs all of the knowledge on the internet. And so then he becomes this split personality. So he's still him, but then there's also Freakazoid, who has all of the knowledge in the world, basically, but that makes him insane. So Dexter can turn into Freakazoid, and then Freakazoid fights bad guys because he's insane. His powers are basically whatever the writers want them to be. Like
Pretty much.
He doesn't have like his power is being a cartoon character because he can do anything. So that
And
makes
when they say that, they really take it to heart as cartoon.
yeah.
So he really does do everything.
Yeah, so there's his powers or lack of defined powers, basically his ability to do anything, makes for really funny situations and creative ways of defeating whoever he's quote-unquote fighting in that episode. Now, this show didn't last very long, which was a shame because it was... I forgot to mention my main reason that I like it is, again, just like with Batman the Brave and the Bold, the writing in the show is super on point. I would say even more so than Animaniacs, because while Animaniacs is really funny, it's more of like gags and like segments rather than like a true like cohesive
Episode?
Yeah. And so what Freakazoid does is it has more, at least per episode, like there's more
Story?
going on.
Yeah.
And so
We say that very loosely, though.
Yeah. So there's...
So don't expect any like Game of Thrones style storytelling with Freakazoid.
Yeah, so he uses his powers to just do funny things, and the writing is really good. There's a ton of really hilarious moments. Like, I think my favorite joke was after he beats the bad guy, Freakazoid, and his friend named Cosgrove, who's a cop. Cosgrove says, okay, well, I guess we have the rest of the afternoon. What do you want to do? And he's like, oh, let's go see a movie. And Cosgrove says, oh, what do you want to see? And he's like, oh, let's go watch that new movie, Babeheart. And Cosgrove goes, what's that? And he says, it's a pig who fights for the freedom of Scotland, because it's a combination of the movie Babe and Braveheart. So just stuff like that always cracked me up when I watched it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's all.
I don't remember because I definitely remember watching Freakazoid. I just don't remember it as much as Animaniacs or Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah.
Looking back on it now, I do regret that, because from what you just told me, that I would have laughed pretty hard at that.
Yeah, I know when I watched it that they didn't have any really good quality ways to watch it. It was pretty... It didn't look too great. It could be on... I don't know if it is. It could be on Netflix, because I know Animaniacs is, so if it's not, it could come in the future. So
Maybe.
That would be really nice. I'd definitely watch it again.
Yeah.
Again, it's pretty short. I don't think it lasted too long.
But that was Freakazoid.
Yep.
One thing I do remember is the theme song.
Yeah.
I can always remember the theme song in my head.
Do you want to sing it?
Nope. In my voice? Really? I want to bring in listeners. I don't want to drive them away.
Fair enough.
So my next show is regular show. Now for this one, I debated between Adventure Time or regular show. And what, do you want to say something?
Well, I would say Adventure Time isn't really that underrated. Like,
Yeah,
Adventure Time's
that's
super
actually what was a deciding factor.
Okay.
Because it was similar humor, not same. It wasn't the same humor, but there's like similar humor. But Adventure Time is really, really popular. Anybody knows it, and especially little kids know it. Regular show, not as much. It is popular, but not to the same level as Adventure Time. So I decided I always like to go for the one that's not as well known.
Yeah.
So I went with that one. And I love both these shows equally. It just depends on my mood. Recently, I've just been watching a lot of regular show because I just want I don't know. Regular show. Where do I even start with this show? I guess probably explain the characters is a good start.
Sure.
So the two main characters are Mordecai and Rigby. Mordecai is a 6-foot-tall blue jay who is voiced actually by the creator of the show. And his friend is Rigby, who is a small raccoon. And they work at a park. And the park manager, his name is Benson. He is a walking, talking, living gumball machine. And some of the other employees at the park are Pops, who is this old, lollipop man who wears a top hat, but he has the mind of a child. There's also an immortal Yeti named Skips, who skips everywhere he goes, and he's voiced by Mark Hamill. There's a ghost. His name is High Five Ghost because on the top of his head he has a hand that has 5 hands. That's in the position for high five. And there's Muscle Man, who is this overweight green guy who plays pranks all the time, and he makes my mom jokes. So the joke like your mom.
Yeah.
The joke he makes is like he says something like an insult, and he's like mom, and like nobody has the heart to explain him. It's like no, that's not how the joke works. And then there's also an intern named Thomas, who is this goat guy. So
it's a very normal name.
Yeah. So the show, it's anything but regular. Each episode, there's just the most random things that happen. There's a story to the episode, so there's like a problem that arises, usually because Mordecai and Rigby do something. Very rarely does a problem come up and it's not their fault. But a problem will come up and they need to try to fix it, and then of course, for some reason, something supernatural has to happen, or extraterrestrial has to happen, or something epic has to happen. I remember one time as a prank, it was daylight savings and they had to move the clocks, but they changed it to a different time zone, just to prove that nobody's gonna notice if they were coming late. So everybody came in late, and when they finally said like, "Ha! See, nobody noticed," the park rose from the ground, and it started going towards the time zone where it was going. And from then on, I'm not gonna tell you what happens because that's not even the funniest thing that happens. So it's stuff like that happens, and you just like you do not understand how the creator thought of this, but it is just so funny, and that's not even some of the funniest things that happen. And for a while, I thought it was like, okay, it's just gonna be, it's just funny stuff, which is good, but sometimes you want a little bit more. And there are moments of character development, especially with Mordecai. You see how he grows, because Mordecai and Rigby, they are school dropouts. Rigby never finished high school. Mordecai never finished college. Mm-hmm. So it kind of speaks to the more adolescent crowd. And I think that was something that was really interesting, because when I first watched it, I was like, there's no way I'm going to relate to this. But every couple of episodes, I'm like, wow, this really, really applies to me. Kind of like how Adventure Time does. And the writing, one thing I've noticed is that he tries to not to make it so obvious, but he'll like make hints about some like, social reference, or some, just like trend that's going on, and he'll make fun of it. I think he made fun of selfies at one point, or like cameras. But the thing is, like, which is weird because in the show they still use VCRs and flip phones, which I thought was funny. And it's something that again, to the adolescent crowd, they can still relate, because I'm sure some of them remember that from their early childhood ages. And the humor, it's really, really random. It's really like in your face, but it's in a way where it's just you can't help but laugh. Like, just by explaining it to Alex, I didn't think he was gonna laugh that hard about like the part going to the time zone that they were at, and they always have to try and fix the problem. And I just think it deserves as much popularity as Adventure Time, because whenever I watch an episode, it never fails to crack me up.
You mean regular show?
Yeah, I said just like Adventure Time, but like I'm still talking about regular show. So any episode always cracks me up, and any of the supporting cast, so they do a good job with supporting cast. All of these shows I mentioned, they do a good job with supporting cast because they have personality, they have a wit to them, they have an adequate amount of screen time too. So it's not like not saying that they come in, but a lot of times they have to like be around to help solve the problem. But regular show is definitely a show that I think is underrated.
Okay, so my last pick is Legion of Superheroes.
What do you want to say about that?
So I chose this one not because it's not because it's my favorite superhero cartoon or anything. Even out of, other than Young Justice and Earth's Mightiest Heroes, there are other superhero cartoons that I'd probably say are better than this one. But the reason I put it on this list is because it doesn't get enough love, because it's really good. Like, I would say it's on par with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
That's a pretty bold claim, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just looking up more about Legions of
okay.
Superheroes.
Okay, so Legion of Superheroes, it starts out with 3 characters coming back to the past to Smallville to recruit a young Clark Kent to come back to the future with them to fight off some evil force. It's this gang of 5 bad guys who are trying to take over their city or something like that, and the Legion of Superheroes isn't powerful enough to stop it, so they want to get Superman. But I'm not sure, but I think they want to go back to, or they try to go back to an older Superman, a more mature, more powerful Superman, but they go back to Superman when he's in high school before he even has like the costume or anything.
See, always high school. Always have to go back to the high school
That's
ages.
not true.
9 times out of 10.
Maybe.
8 times out of 10.
Maybe. Anyway, so Superman is resistant at first, but eventually he goes with them, and he helps them, even though he doesn't have all of his powers, or he's not as powerful as he will be one day.
Mm-hmm.
But he stays in the future to like develop his powers or to train with them, and so that's season 1 is Superman chilling with them basically. And yeah, it's a really good show. There's a lot of character development for pretty much every character. There's a lot of really cool superheroes that you probably never heard of, like Lightning Lad. He's got lightning powers, and his brother also has lightning powers. And they have a sister who's dead, but she's not dead because she's a living thunderstorm.
Okay.
Anyway, there's Bouncing Boy, Brainiac 5, Phantom Girl, Triplicate Girl. His name, it's not Iron Man. What's his name? I don't know. He's made out of iron.
Colossus?
No.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, anyway, so it just introduces a lot of really cool characters with pretty unique powers and does a good job of telling the story that it sets out to tell. And then season 2, I won't spoil it too much, but Superman Prime is in there, or maybe Superboy Prime, one of the two. Yep.
I actually totally forgot about this show until you mentioned it, so I'm surprised that somebody else remembers it. Because I've only heard about the show. I've never actually seen an episode, but anything DC animated, I will always watch.
True.
Very, very rarely will I ever be like, nah. Only time I ever did that was Son of Batman.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that one.
Yeah, that one is just like, why?
I still watched it.
I watched it.
Oh.
I was entertained. I was just like, I'm never watching this again.
Yeah, same. But we can save that
For another time.
Yeah.
So my last pick. This is our last pick, right? That was your last pick?
Yeah.
So my last one is Transformers Prime. Now, Transformers Prime is is another Transformer cartoon that came out. I forgot how it came out. It came out when I was in high school, I think.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
I would have said earlier than that. I thought
Really?
it was like early 2000s.
2010, actually.
I must be thinking of another incarnation then.
So, as you know, there are a lot of Transformer cartoons. You got the original G1, then there was G2, then some other one between, then we have Beast Wars, and then Beast Machines, and then you have Transformers Armada, Transformers Energon, Cybertron, all those things. You got the movies, of course, you can't forget about the movies. You got the video
many
games.
Movies.
Yeah. But I can say to you that Transformers Prime is probably the best, I think, incarnation of any Transformers cartoons or media ever.
That's a bold claim.
Yeah, it's one of the best ones because it takes you can definitely see elements from the movies in the show, but it takes the good things from the movies So you have the kid aspects where they come to Earth and they don't try and find kids. The kids just find them, and so as a result, they end up having to take care of the kids because Decepticons they're scared that they're going to use the kids to get to them. So they have that. Some of the designs you can see were inspired by the movie, but what I like about this for multiple reasons. The one is the story. The story is absolutely amazing because it balances both the human aspect and the robot aspects with the Decepticons and the Autobots, which I know was a big complaint with the movies because they said it focused too much on the humans and not enough on the Cybertronians.
It's because they paid a lot of money to get Megan Fox.
That's true. So in this one, you see a very good balance between it. So you have good enough time with all the humans, but you have just as much time with the robots as well. And the story also is really good because it talks a lot about the reason behind the conflict of why the Autobots and Decepticons fought. And the Civil War aspect of it was really, really, Civil War was really good about it. Because as you know, Autobots and Decepticons always fight. And the movie touched upon this, but the show makes it better because they're talking about how there was a lot of social injustice and like grief on Cybertron. And so Megatron was this gladiator who fought in the pits of some city, and he became this like social figure that there was actually a caste system, believe it or not, on Cybertron. And he rose up in the caste, and he got the robots and the lower caste systems to support him, and he was going to start a revolution, and he actually inspired Optimus to join him. But when Megatron wanted to, he started to change and lean towards more of a violent, pathway. Optimus, of course, said no to that, and he also got a bunch of followers to follow him, and so what resulted is the huge civil war. And because of that, I like what they said about it is because what ended up happening is they exposed this energy source. I can't talk right now. This energy source called Dark Energon.
Tesseract.
Very funny. Did you know anything about the Transformers lore? A good thing about it is like they bring a lot of, also with the movies, they also bring a lot of the original source material into Transformers Prime. So what ends up causing
what is the original source material?
Original source material is, I will actually explain it with the characters and some of the things, because what comes up is what causes the Dark Energon is a whole different thing with the character. Anyways, it explains good detail about like what causes all these problems. And yeah, for the most part, is of course it was made for kids, but it has a lot of dark moments. First episode, they kill off one of the Autobots, and I was like, did they actually just do it? And they show you doing it. Like Starscream rams his hand into the chest of the Autobot, and he's like, yeah. Hardcore. And they bleed in the show. Of course, I mean they bleed Energon, but yeah, not actual blood. So the story is amazing, and it continues through. Like each season is strong. Of course, like it's gonna have weak episodes every now and then, but the story progresses fully on. So season 1 deals with Megatron returning in the Dark Energon. Season 2 deals with Unicron, which causes the Dark Energon. Season 3 deals with this ancient prehistoric Transformer beasts that were found on Earth.
The dinosaurs?
It could have led to that, but it was a whole different thing. And it went on for 3 seasons, which was very strong. And so the story never weakened at any point. Like I said, there were weak episodes, but get past that, and it's an amazing storyline. Voice acting is amazing. Everybody does their part. Peter Cullen comes back to voice Optimus Prime, of course. And they got the original voice of Megatron from the original cartoons to come back and voice Megatron, which I thought was really cool. And everybody does an amazing job. You see some of the old characters from the original cartoons. You see some of the new ones in the new cartoons. It's all great. It appeals to every Transformer fan out there. And like I said, it gets dark. It gets really dark sometimes. The action is pretty good, I'll admit. Of course, because they're Autobots, they never get seriously injured unless the story calls for it. But it's just the same thing that cartoons always follow. they fall to. But honestly, like I said, it's one of the best adaptations of Transformers ever, because it takes the good things of the movies, it takes the good things of everything else and molds it into its own thing. So even though it takes bits and pieces from everything, it makes it its own little, not own little, it makes its own thing in this Transformers universe. And I think it definitely deserves to be recognized way more above the movies. I like the movies, but way more than that. So that's how I feel about Transformers Prime.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, so I've got a few honorable mentions that I wanted to go over quickly. I don't know if you had any.
I'll probably think of some along the way.
Okay,
Let's do
so
it.
first one that I had is Danny Phantom.
Ooh.
Now,
Nice.
I don't know if this one's actually underrated, but I just really like this show, so I want to talk about it. So, Danny Phantom. If you don't know Danny Phantom, so Danny Fenton, that's his real name.
Yeah.
He was just 14 when his parents built a very strange machine. It was built to view a world unseen. When it didn't work, his parents, they just quit. But then Danny took a look inside of it, and there was a great big flash, and everything just changed, and his molecules got all rearranged. And when he woke up, he realized he had snow white hair and glowing green eyes. He could walk through walls and disappear and fly, and he was much more unique than the other guys. And it was then that he knew what he had to do. He had to stop all the ghosts that were coming through, and he's here to fight for me and you.
DJ Alex in the house. It's really hot in here. I'm sorry. He just made a fire right now. That thing was lit AF. Dang. I'll be honest. I saw like maybe a couple of episodes of this show, but what I saw I liked.
Okay, so so that was the theme song
Yeah.
to the show, which I just put in spoken word, I guess.
Hey, it still counts.
So anyway, Danny, his parents are ghost hunters. They build this machine to be able to see the ghost world. I forget what it's called. Like the ghost zone, not phantom zone, whatever. Anyway, they build this machine to be able to see into the other world. But then it doesn't work. But then there's an on switch inside the thing.
Yeah.
And so Danny just goes inside and he turns it on. And when he turns it on, because it was still plugged in, he gets zapped by this like ghostly energy or whatever, and he's able to change into a ghost, so back and forth. And so he has the power to turn invisible and walk through walls and fly. Later on, he can like shoot these like ectoblasts and clone himself, and he has freeze powers for some reason. And he has a banshee wail where he just yells and just like everything like blows up. So he's super powerful. And a lot of his enemies are really unique. Like there's probably I'd say his main villain his name is Vlad Masters, who is also what do they call him? Danny has a word that the ghosts call him, the like halfling change. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anyway, but Vlad Masters, he was friends with his parents in college, and he was in love with Danny's mom, but then there was an accident. And
classic one.
There's an accident that changed Vlad into able to transform into a vampire who's basically a ghost, just like Danny. And then Danny's parents got together anyway. So there's that. There's this like ghost bounty hunter guy. There's this guitar chick. There's the lunch lady who can curse meat to like make it work for her. And then there's everybody's favorite, the box ghost.
Oh, I actually know about box ghosts. Believe it or not. Of course, I would know about box ghosts. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so Danny Phantom is just really, really cool. Like I said, I don't know if this is actually underrated. I feel like it was pretty popular when it came on, and it lasted for a pretty good while. So people might remember it fondly. But yeah,
good choice. Let's see. With me, do I have any?
Okay, I'll come up with another. I was
going to say one. Okay.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No.
Okay. Trust me, we're not as polite in real life. I would say Shaolin Showdown.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that one.
Shaolin Showdown.
That was a great one.
I don't know. Again, with you, maybe not. I don't know about underrated because it lasted a long time.
Yeah.
But it was definitely something that I think anybody could enjoy. Of course, it was. It came on. WB Kids.
Yep.
So it was more geared towards a younger demographic, but I don't know. It was just such an entertaining show because you had 4 different kids who came from different backgrounds. You had Raimundo, who came from Brazil. You got Clay, who came from Texas. You got Kimiko, she was a daughter of this really, really wealthy Japanese business guy. And of course, you have Omi, who lived in the Shaolin Temple. And each of them represents one of the 4 elements, because elements are always a thing. And it goes with them on their quest to find Shen Gong Wu. And almost every episode has a Shaolin Showdown. And it's...
I would be really surprised if there was an episode that didn't have a Shaolin Showdown.
I think maybe like 1 or 2. But those were like 2-part episodes. So something else happens before then.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's basically about their quest to go find Shen Gong Wu. And
Which are
these magical items that I don't even remember how the Shen Gong Wu were created.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they're there and they have to go find it, and they're constantly being harassed by Jack Spicer. Yeah, that's a good one.
In the witch.
Wuya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like Ouya.
Yeah. And of course, it's your typical, fight the bad guy, duel for something. Good guy wins 9 times out of 10. But the scenarios were always funny because the Shen Gong Wu were located in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
So the characters had to go there. Something happens at the location, and there's always like this side story that develops that they need to work on. And I don't know, it was just a great show to watch. That was humorous. Sometimes it got a little touching because you see everybody has their things to deal with. Clay, he has to deal with his dad not approving of his lifestyle because he went from the ranch at Texas to wearing a dress in a temple. Omi doesn't have a family. He was abandoned as a child. He's an orphan, and so he's lived at the temple his entire life. I actually remember one episode, like, they focused on finding Omi's family, and there's, like, a village of Omis. Kimiko, I actually don't know too much about. I forgot about Kimiko.
She was, like, really spoiled.
Yeah.
And she had to deal with, like, the simplistic, like, temple lifestyle.
I think so, yeah. Even though she had, like, a bunch of stuff, like, shipped over to her, so she still lived like that. And then Raimundo
was the most complex
Yeah,
character.
he was actually, I was thinking about this, good way to put it, the most complex, because many times he skirted the line with, like, going to the dark side.
Yeah.
And, during the end of the finale of the first season, he does do that.
Yeah.
He sells away his friends, and he makes Wuya all-powerful again. And so it just, I don't know, there was great character development about that. And then new characters got introduced.
The dragon guy.
Oh, the one that was played by Newman?
No way.
Yeah, Wayne Knight plays, dang, what's his name?
I don't know.
Dojo, his name is Dojo.
Oh, no, what? No, that's not what I meant.
Oh.
No, I did knew that.
Oh, did you? Did you mean the other guy?
Yeah, the guy who turned into a dragon.
I think it was like a lizard thing.
I guess.
I know you're I don't remember his name. Dang. Kevin and I were talking about him. I know who you're talking about, though. But, yeah.
Yeah, that totally was Wayne Knight, though.
Yeah.
Dojo. That was his name.
I remember his whole name. It was like Dojo Konojo Joe.
Bo.
Yeah.
Bo.
So, yeah, Shaolin Showdown, it's underrated. I definitely think so. One of the best cartoons during that time.
Did you watch Shaolin Chronicles?
No, never saw that.
Yeah, I tried to get into it, but it just... Maybe it's just because I'm older. It just didn't hook me as much. I don't know.
And plus, it has to live up to like what the original was. It's like with my thing with like the whole Yu-Gi-Oh thing. Like after the original Yu-Gi-Oh, it came like the Yu-Gi-Oh. What it was called?
The second one,
like,
GX.
GX, yeah. I was like, nah, I ain't about that life.
Anyway, okay, real quick Shaolin Showdown story, and then I'll go to my next one. So, when I was younger, I would usually watch TV with the closed captions on, just because I don't really know why. But so there was this one episode where they were fighting this flower with a French accent,
Oh yeah.
and he says, "I challenge you to a Shen Yi Boudere." Shen Yi. So when you have okay. So when you have a Shaolin Showdown, you can have a Shen Yi Boudere, which is basically where you bet 2 Shengang Wu.
Yeah.
So basically you double down, right? And so he says, "I challenge you to a Shen Yi Boudere," but the closed captions, because it didn't know what the heck that was supposed to be, and says, it said, I think it said, "and I shall need a good hair," or something like that. Oh man, what did it say? It was something like that. It was just something way off that I thought was hilarious. Anyway, so my next honorable mention, American Dragon Jake Long.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. That was a great show.
Okay, so real quick summary. Jake comes from a line of dragons, dragon people who can turn into dragons.
Yeah.
And so he's the American Dragon. Basically, he's supposed to protect all of America, even though he only ever protects
He's an
New
Asian
York
American
City.
kid.
Yeah.
So I think he's second generation.
Yeah.
Or third generation, because his parents are Americanized.
Yeah.
His grandfather is an immigrant.
Yeah. So so we'll be third. Yeah. So I just like this show because I don't know, there was cool music whenever he transformed into a dragon, and he dealt with all of the struggles of being a kid, but also having to protect the magical realm of New York. And
He came on Disney, right?
Yeah. And I'm not afraid to admit this. I had a crush on Rose.
Oh, the girl?
Yeah.
And then you saw like him constantly like going after that.
Yeah.
Ah man, I totally forgot about the show. Definitely underrated.
Yeah.
And not just because he's Asian. I'm not just saying that, but it was definitely a great show.
Hey, Omi's Asian too.
Yeah. I loved his accent, by the way.
Yeah.
He's like Jack Spice, and he could never get like puns correct.
Yeah. Hey, we're not talking about Shaolin Showdown.
I know. Real quick, one quick pun example of this. Like he wanted to go get Fridays, but he meant to say Sundays. But yeah, American Dragon, and then his granddad was always hilarious.
Yeah. And the dog, Foo Dog.
Yeah,
was really funny.
He was a
comedic relief.
Anthropomorphic dog.
Yeah.
He could talk. Whenever like they need to know about the history of some magical creature or something, he would help them out. Problem was like he was like really lazy at the same time, but it was awesome. And it dealt with him being a kid. A lot of the situations he was going through, he was a kid. He wanted to be normal, but at the same time, he had to take on the responsibilities, which he doesn't like, but he loves being able to turn into a dragon. Which, I mean, come on, who wouldn't?
Yeah, that was so
great,
cool.
Great show,
Yeah.
Great show.
Okay, I guess that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one I have is Stormhawks.
I don't know this one, actually.
Okay, so real quick summary of Stormhawks is it's this group of like teenagers, and they're trying to stop this bad guys from taking over the world. And what the planet that they live on, it's like floating islands that are like really spread out, and everything else is just like this vast like wasteland. So they have this big flying airship, but then they have faster transports that are these bikes that can also turn into like these like flying machines. They're super cool. I didn't include it on my list because I haven't had a chance to go back and watch it. I suspect that when I do get around to it, it probably won't hold up as well as I think it does, or as I remember it. But yeah, Stormhawks was just really cool. Just visually, the story was pretty good, not fantastic, but I just like the motorcycle flying machine things. They were cool.
Of course, who wouldn't?
You got another one?
Do I have another one?
Yeah.
If I had to choose one, probably Ed and Eddie. I'm not saying that because it was like an amazing storyline or whatever. It made me laugh as a kid, and I just thought it was stupid humor, yes, but I mean, you had to take it for what it was. And one thing I really liked about it was just the animation of the show. It was really, really weird, and my mom didn't really like me watching it, but I just thought it was because what I like about it is like a diversity of supporting cast characters. Because the main characters are important, but you need to have other characters for them to interact with as well. And when you think about it, a lot of this, every episode takes place in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Every single thing, and it always gets blown out to a huge proportion, takes place in the neighborhood. So you have to wonder, like, I don't know, I could relate to it because, like, I never had that, but I always wanted to know, like, what would it be like to actually be with kids in my neighborhood who I actually, like, saw every day and played with.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, it might have been something like that, just without, the craziness of them. I'm not saying too much about this one because I just saw Alex has a huge list right now. And
I only have 4 more.
Only 4 more.
I'll try to keep it brief. Okay, so my next one is The Spectacular Spider-Man. Now, I wanted to bring this one up because I feel like it's really forgotten because it's really good and it just gets overshadowed by,
all the other Marvel cartoons.
Well, even all the other Spider-Man cartoons. Like there's the classic, the original like 60s Spider-Man cartoon people think of fondly just because it's that weird campy style again.
Yeah. I think a lot of it might have been nostalgia.
Yeah. And then there was like a 90s version that was, I've seen a few episodes of, it was pretty good. And then there might be some more, but then there's Ultimate Spider-Man, which is pretty good, but Spectacular Spider-Man, I don't hear people talking about.
Let me ask you, is this the one that's Drake Bell? He
no,
voices him, or
that's,
is it the other
that's
one?
the current one.
The Ultimate
Spider-Man, yeah. So Spectacular Spider-Man, I don't really have much to say about it. It's pretty straightforward Spider-Man origin story. He's in high school. He's fighting bad guys. He's, doing his thing. I just wanted to bring it up because it's really good. And for me, because I watched it, when I was growing up, when I didn't have a lot of knowledge of Spider-Man, it really introduced me to a lot of what he could do, what he was experiencing, a lot of his bad guys. That was really important for me. So
I do like how it was a more modern take for
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This one in Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one I have is The Batman.
That was actually going to be one of my top ones.
Really?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah, so The Batman, again, just I feel like is really overlooked, underrated. I would say it's better than the animated series.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just liked the story, the art style, the voice acting. All
art
of it was
style is
really
very
good.
reminiscent. I always saw a lot of Jackie Chan adventures in the art style.
Yeah, I could see that. Later on, there's also the Justice League comes into it. That was really cool.
And it wasn't like a shoe-in because the first couple of seasons, Batman really gets his time to shine.
Yeah.
And of course, they have to bring, because it was for kids,
Yeah.
bring the Justice League.
Yeah,
But
there's also Robin was in there,
Batgirl
Batgirl
was in
later
there.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a really... This was actually the first time I was introduced into Bane. Yeah. I remember actually him from the animated series, but I thought he was like this clown, like, luchador. So this is the first one I actually saw, I guess, a more better take of what Bane was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember this. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's better than the animated series. For me, the animated series is still up there. But it's definitely, a Batman show that deserves recognition.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Still not as good as Batman the Brave and the Bold.
That's true. But what I like about this Batman is he's a younger Batman.
Yeah.
And I like that. But he's still, by younger, it doesn't mean that he's more reckless or anything, because he's still pretty much Batman when he's Batman. It's just, he's younger.
Yeah.
So I like it when, they show the hero as a younger version of themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the next one I have, and this one's a deep cut, but it's Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
You know what? I've seen this one too. I have seen this one. I will say that.
Okay, so the reason I like this one is because I have the VHS of the movie? That launched all of it.
Yep.
So basically, it's about Buzz Lightyear, who needs no introduction.
But as an actual space ranger.
Yeah. And so he has a partner. His partner dies. He decides, I'm going to be a lone ranger.
Yeah.
He decides he doesn't want to work with anybody because he doesn't want to put them in danger, because he's the best ranger in the Star Command.
Yeah.
And so he goes on all these elite missions, and he doesn't want to put anyone else in danger. But he ends up working with a team, 3 other people. There's this girl.
This really big red alien.
The girl could like, she had like intangibility powers, like she could like go through walls and like
Martian Manhunter.
yeah,
type
basically,
stuff.
or Danny Phantom.
That too, or Miss Martian.
And then there was Booster, who was the big guy.
That was his name. Yeah.
He was a janitor, but he ended up becoming a ranger because
Of the movie.
because he had heart.
Yeah.
And then there was a robot named,
I don't remember the robot's name.
I know it had an X in it. Anyway, okay, so the robot was built by the LGMs, the Little Green Men.
Yeah.
And he was just like a regular robot, but then in Buzz's first mission with as the robot as his partner, the robot gets destroyed, and
yeah.
and then the LGMs, they're like, they have a hive mind,
Yeah.
and so it gets stolen by Zurg, and then so they're like dumb basically after that because they don't have like a shared intelligence. So they try to put the robot back together, and then he comes back and he's not like, he has a personality. He doesn't follow orders.
He's really sassy too.
Yeah, so that was funny. So anyway, so that was the movie, which I highly recommend if you could find it. I doubt you can. I mean, I still have the VHS, so I'm good. But anyone else, I'm not saying it's impossible to find, but good luck. Anyway, so I guess the movie was popular enough that it got its own spin-off cartoon, and I just like the movie so much I like the cartoon too.
Yeah. Wow. Totally forgot about this one too. You were making me relive my childhood.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the last one I have is the Zeta Project.
Wow.
That's a deep cut.
That is a deep cut too. I saw maybe 3 episodes of the show.
Okay, so the Zeta Project was a spin-off of Batman Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
So
It really was. If you look at both shows, they have almost identical animation styles.
yeah, so Zeta was a assassination robot basically. He was a Terminator, but he grew a conscience. So basically, he was Ultron.
Yeah.
But he decided he wanted to be good. Like he
Like Chappie.
Yeah, so he decided that he didn't understand why he was being forced to kill people. So he ran away, and he teamed up with this girl who helped him stay on the run from the government. And so Zeta was like an infiltration unit, I guess. Basically, he could cloak himself, like take on the appearance of other people to help him get close to his target. So that was how he stayed away from the government. And it wasn't the best cartoon. The voice acting, I remember, was not that great. The story, I liked the story, and the animation were fine, but I just wanted to bring it up because it's really not well known at all. And it was pretty short. It didn't last too long, but I really liked it.
Good choice. Good
Yep.
choice.
Yep. So those are all the honorable mentions I had. I'll probably think of some more between now and the next time we record, but yeah.
Yep. Nice.
Okay, so now let's do some emails.
Okay.
Okay, so first we'll get back to Susie's email. She said, "What do you guys think of Pokemon Sun and Moon from what they've shown so far, and which starter looks best to you?"
Now I haven't really paid attention to this one.
Of course.
I follow the games, not these past ones I haven't. So I'm just gonna go with the owl one because everyone's been talking about the owl.
Okay, so what they've shown so far, I'm okay with. I'm not super hyped for it because they haven't really shown much. I will say 7.8 out of 10, too much water. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of islands, and that's going to require a bunch of surfing, and that doesn't sound great to me. Hopefully, there's a lot of bridges and not a lot of surfing, but we'll see. As far as which starter I like, I have not made a decision yet because I always reserve my judgment for which one I'm going to pick until I know what the final evolutions look like. I feel like judging based on the first stages is really pointless, so I'm not going to give an opinion on that.
I'm sorry I don't have more to say about that. I honestly haven't had time to look into it. I've seen so much internet buzz about the owl, so I was like, I like owls.
Yeah, I see why people are saying that, but
What are they saying about the owls actually? Because
they're just saying he's really cute.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so as more Sun and Moon info comes out, I'm sure we'll cover it on here. But yeah. So real quick, speaking of video games, I finally beat The Amazing Spider-Man.
Whoa.
Man, I was having so much fun at the beginning, and then I just felt like it was dragging on forever and ever at the end. Partially it was my fault because I just don't have a lot of time to play games, but oh man, I'm glad that I have it behind me. I'm not 100% sure on what game I'm going to play next, but I know I want to pick something short because I have a list of games that I want to play. The next game I had on there I knew was going to take me a long time, so I'm going to move some things around and play a couple short games just to try and make myself feel like I'm accomplishing things. So okay, next question, and this is from Jonathan Cruz. He says, yes, Jonathan Cruz here, big fan, with 2 exclamation points. Will you be mentioning how today is Jonathan Cruz's 26th birthday today?
Nope.
As today X-Men comes out as well, and Alice in Wonderland.
What?
That was just a very strangely worded email, Jonathan. So, I guess we just mentioned that today is Jonathan's 26th birthday.
Yep. You're 4 years old from being 30.
Wow.
You are old, sucker.
Dang.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry. You're the best, Jonathan. Happy 26.
Hooray. Even though this isn't going to go up today.
Yeah.
So, happy belated birthday, I guess.
I mean, technically we're saying it the day of.
Yeah, that's true.
We're still in the rules.
Anyway, X-Men comes out today.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it, obviously.
I've been hearing, things about it.
Same. And then Through the Looking Glass, not Alice in Wonderland. Jonathan, don't try to trick us. I don't want to come back and correct this. The movie that comes out today is Through the Looking Glass, or Alice Through the Looking Glass. I'm not going to see it. I didn't see the first one.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the books. That's good enough for me.
True to the source material.
They're good books.
I actually haven't read them.
They're good. I've read them. I think both books together, it's like 120 pages or something. So
really?
Yeah, you could totally blow through it in a weekend.
On my to-do list. All right, what's our next email?
Okay, so last question.
Oh, look who it is.
This is from Robin.
Big surprise.
It says, hello there, friends. If you could
Friend. I am not your friend.
Whoa.
I am your friend only because of Alex. I'm kidding.
She says, if you could only watch one movie for the rest of your life, what movie would you pick?
Oh, jeez.
From your favorite fan, Robin. Yes, you can say my name, duh.
Okay, what would you say? This is a tough question.
Okay, so my favorite movie is Fight Club.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that would be a good pick because every time I watch that movie, I notice something that I never noticed before. But at the same time, like, part of the reason that it's so great is that I don't watch it all the time. Like, it holds that mystery and that awe that I still had the first time. So I don't know if watching it over and over would be that beneficial. I feel like, I don't know. Come back to me. What's your answer?
I'm going to cheat with this one. The Lord of the Rings. All of them.
No, she says one
technically,
movie.
they were one book.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were. Originally, Tolkien made it as one book.
Okay.
And then he divided it up into 3 stories.
Okay, well, she said one movie.
That counts. Totally counts. Do not fight me on this. Fine. If I had to choose one, I would watch Fellowship of the Ring. Because...
So you could watch Gandalf die over and over?
Do not talk to me about that. Tore my heart out when I saw that. The problem is like, I saw, actually, the Two Towers first. only the first like 30 minutes of it. So I it made no sense to me whatsoever what the hell this movie was about. And then I watched Fellowship of the Ring, and then it destroyed me by the end of the movie. I was like, this is so good, but why would you do this? Not like Tolkien was like any George R.R. Martin or anything like that. But then I watched the movies, and then I read the books, and I read the books when I was like in 4th grade. So, but I always remember like the magic for me. I know it sounds cheesy, but I know movies have this like hold on you when you first see them. They're able to bring you into this world, and Fellowship of the Ring did that to me. And oh my gosh, like if I had to watch one movie the rest of my life, I would watch that, because I always go back to watch the scenery, the acting, the visual arts, all the things they go to it. I'm a very artsy person, so whenever I rewatch a movie, I always go back to admire that. And plus, it's a great story too. It's an amazing story. And also, when I found out that there's a lot of Catholic, themes in the story, I of course have to go back and look at it. I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that before. Yeah, I noticed that. So it's a cool little thing. That's my pick. Did you find this side?
No.
Nope.
I don't know how you could possibly answer this question. Probably Fight Club. That's an awesome movie, and if I just watched it once a year, that would suck that I could only watch movie every year. But whatever. It's a hypothetical question, so I'll say Fight Club.
Nice, good answer.
Okay, so that's it for our emails. If you would like to have your question or comment or concern or feedback or complaint or what have you, if you want your email read on the show, you can send us emails anytime, abcpodcast92@gmail.com. So now we will do our Kevin segment, Fanfic Fights, and I'm really excited about this one.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a really good discussion.
What do you have for me?
This week we have Black Panther versus Vixen.
Vixen?
Yeah.
Really? See, I thought you would choose Batman or something like that.
Nope, Vixen.
Vixen, okay. Crap. Well, let's get this started. 2 out of 3?
Yep.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. 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 Whoa! Okay, I'm going with Black Panther.
Okay.
Okay. So, me go first?
Sure.
Alrighty. What can I say about Black Panther, aka T'Challa? So, he is the king of Wakanda, which is a secret African nation, or as secret as it can get, that is in Africa. It is one of the richest nations on Earth, as well as one of the most technologically advanced nations. So he has all of that at his disposal. A humongous kingdom with vast resources and a huge buttload of vibranium deposits for him to use. What can we say about Black Panther himself? He is trained in hundreds of styles of martial arts, some which aren't even taught. He just learned from himself. Well, I mean, he taught himself. Learned from himself, what does that mean? Taught himself.
So he made them up?
Actually, yeah, he's like, I forget which one to talk about, but he mentioned like sometimes he'll like incorporate different like fighting styles to a point where it's just like gibberish, and so like you can't copy it. What else? He is enhanced from his blessings from the Panther God, because in order to gain the mantle of the Black Panther, you have to eat this heart-shaped herb, and then that brings you into communion with the Panther God. And from there, he will dispose his grace upon you. And then, because of that, he's able to have the knowledge and the abilities of all past Black Panthers. So on top of that, as well as his amazing fighting abilities, let's talk about his Panther suit. His Panther suit is laced with vibranium, so it makes him a very, very tough opponent to be able to fight. You can't shoot him. Blades probably won't do anything to him. He has built-in claws, vibranium claws, into his hands, which can cut through damn near anything. He has many different gadgets on his suit. He has knives. He has a bunch of little gadgets to hack into things, smoke bombs, grappling things. I don't even know why he names it grappling things though, because he's like he can climb everywhere though. He has enhanced senses, so he has amazing hearing, reflexes, sight, smell. I think
You forgot one of the senses.
I know, touch, and taste.
Oh, you did forget that one too.
How is he gonna taste his victim unless he actually bites them?
Hey, he's a panther.
That's true. Or like if he like licks himself to bathe himself, it's like. Nyeh.
Ooh, I should have done Black Panther versus Pink Panther. That would have.
Ooh, that would have actually been good. You know, that actually would have probably been a pretty good fight. But
I'll write it down for later.
Black Panther he can go up against the likes of Captain America. He's actually considered one of the top fighters of the Marvel universe. He can go against Captain America, Spider-Man. Who else? Taskmaster. Whoops. I was gonna say Deadpool, but I was like, nah, I don't think he's ever actually like encountered Deadpool that much. But needless to say, Black Panther would definitely win. Your move.
Okay, so Vixen, also from Africa, and she has an enchanted necklace that when activated, she can call upon the powers of any animal from Africa. So she can charge down like an elephant. She has the strength of a gorilla and the speed of a cheetah and the slitheriness of a snake. She can heal broken bones really quickly, like some animal that can heal broken bones really quickly. If I know that happened. I don't remember what. Did you watch the Vixen, the short cartoons with Arrow and Flash?
No, I didn't get to. I actually didn't even know that it was released yet.
Yeah, no, that came out a long time ago. They're like 6 minutes long. Like they're super short. You should watch it. It's like 30 minutes total. Anyway, if one of her limbs gets cut off, she can grow it back like Piccolo. Because lizards can do that. So, basically, what I'm trying to say is she has a bunch of really varied powers, much more varied than Black Panther, who, in essence, can jump really high and run really fast and can punch kind of hard. But she can run faster and jump higher and punch harder than him. So she has, when it comes down to it, in a fight, she has what it takes to take him down.
I still think Black Panther would win.
Well, I think Vixen would win.
Vibranium gives him an edge.
Her magical necklace gives her an edge.
He has blessings from a panther god.
She has blessings from probably a panther god too. A bunch of African animal god people.
I'm sure Black Panther has fought many different types of animals in Africa.
Yeah, because that's all he does. He just chills in Africa and fights animals.
Hey, he rules a kingdom, man.
Yeah.
Show some respect.
I'm sorry, Your Majesty.
If only.
Alright, well, that's it for our fanfic fights. You can let us know who you thought won because we need your opinions. If you don't tell us who you think won, then it's just pointless speculation and argument on our parts. I
still like arguing.
Yeah, I mean, not to say we don't have fun, but the real point is that we want to know who you think won. So, again, our email is abcpodcast92@gmail.com. All right, so before we get out of here, got two more things to cover really quickly. So, we've got a new movie club thing to watch. We still got to come up with a name for that segment. But it's my week to pick.
Yes, it is.
And last time I chose a movie that I have been wanting to watch for a while. This time I'm going to pick a movie that I've seen and I know I'll like and I know is not super gruesome.
Okay.
And that movie is Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh, I've always wanted to watch this movie.
You're welcome.
No, thank you.
All right, so Monty Python and the Holy Grail, it's a classic. It's one of the funniest movies I've ever watched. And if you're worried about, it being really explicit or anything, it's not. It's definitely family friendly. There's a few kind of risque parts, but it's really not that bad. So yeah, so we will be talking about that in 2 weeks. So not next week, but the week after, we will be talking all about Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So make sure you watch it. Let us know what you thought, and yeah.
And what's the second thing?
Okay, so last thing is Brandon and I want to give a huge congratulations to our friend and avid listener, Gabby, and her new husband, Vince, on their marriage. Gabby and Vince, if you listen, we're super happy for you guys. We wish you all the best. And good luck in your future life together.
Have a bunch of kids.
I wasn't going to say that, but I figured you would.
Hey, they're Catholic. They have to do it.
Anyway, that's it for this week.
It's been fun. This has been fun.
But yeah, this went a lot longer than I thought it was going to.
You make it sound like a bad thing.
I didn't say it was, but we still got... This doesn't even include Michael's
part. Like, say we have another 3-hour podcast in our way.
Anyway, so you can follow me on Twitter at AtariAlex. That's also my Instagram name and Snapchat. Follow me there if you want to.
I always forget you have Snapchat.
Yeah, I don't use that much.
Yeah.
I just stalk other people.
Me too.
Brandon's also on Twitter. You can find his name in my profile bio on Twitter. Just look there. And
yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I have a blog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm on YouTube with my 2 videos.
I used to have a blog.
What happened to it?
I got lazy and busy, and then I started
basically what happens to every other blog.
Yeah, I mean, well, but then I started the podcast, which I felt served the same purpose and is more fun for me.
So,
yeah.
You found your little niche.
Yep.
Putting those communication skills to good use.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for our show this week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you to Michael for his contribution with everything.
Sure,
you know, if you weren't going home, you could have joined us. Anyway, have a great week, and we will see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Well, not see you, because we can't.
We see you in spirit.
Yeah, there you go.
I can see you in spirit.
Yeah.
I see you.
Okay. Catch you all next week.
Bye.